Hello Internet, welcome back to the Fast Travel Lounge. You're listening to episode 39. My name is Patrick, I'm joined by the full gang, Josh, Steve, and Saif. Say hi everyone.
Hey everyone.
Howdy.
Steve. Shit, did someone... Josh, you're supposed to be minding him. You didn't leave the door open, did you?
Oh,
I'm free, I'm gone. I'm down the street. I'm playing in traffic.
Oh no, he's going butt naked.
Steve, no, we've talked about this. Frogger doesn't work in real life.
It's called Steve in it where I am.
It's called Frogger in the video game, but it's called Chicken in real life. Isn't that strange?
Really makes you think.
I am intelligent.
Yeah, gang's all here. Welcome back, Josh. Where were
I
you?
don't believe anyone that has to say they're intelligent. Sorry, just wind that back. Sorry, go on, Patrick.
Probably true, but how was your week off? What'd you get up to?
Nothing.
You
Literally
say that
nothing.
every week. I don't believe you.
No. I literally got up to nothing. My VR.
I thought you got spooked by magpies.
That's about it.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
only a complete moron would replace a podcast with the boys with absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Also, I've only
I
had
genuinely
one
don't
day
even
to be
know
swooped
why I
by
was off.
magpies.
Yeah, man, let's all like start talking at the same time. Favorite, that's my catchphrase.
Didn't you say that at work once and it went down really badly?
Yeah? That was what's said in the chat doesn't come up in the cast. Like, you know that, right?
Do you think?
Why would you
do you
do
think
that?
that stops a man that plays in traffic, sir?
You know what? You're right. I should stop questioning anything Steven does.
Dear HR.
He's already got no will to live. You really want to try pushing that?
As far as I can.
So it is Steptember. Happy Steptember, everybody.
Happy
how many-
Steptember.
Yeah, how many steps did we get to today, boys?
Let me check my watch.
I'm at 19,017.
Holy!
Fucking
That's not
show
2,000.
off.
That's not 20,000.
I only wore my
Yeah.
I only wore my watch enough to track 278 steps.
What,
So-
you actually take your watch off? Like, I sleep with mine. It gives me a sleep score.
How
I
do
was
you-
I was sitting
how
at
do
my
you charge
desk
it
all
if
day
you
doing
don't
my
take it
job,
off
so
when you're asleep?
I didn't need to wear it.
Well, I've got a good work-life balance at this moment. So I got a couple of walks in. But
What's work-life balance?
Okay, so the true alpha gameplay, and I know you've asked something, Josh, and I'm just going to ignore you. So the true alpha game move is so it doesn't muck up your schedule, is to wake up half an hour early.
Doesn't that already mess up my schedule?
Well,
You imply
everything's
I wake
depends
up on time as is.
Oh, really? You guys are those people? You guys don't wake up? Like, so the Steven
I wake
schedule...
up very reluctantly.
kicking and screaming. So you
You
wake
wake up and
Right.
you're like, shit, so close. Maybe
Woke up and I
tomorrow.
was like, damn, we're late to record the podcast, huh?
So you wake up at 6 a.m., you play on your phone for 15 minutes, then you watch 2 episodes of anime, then you put half an hour of video games, and you're at your desk at work at 8 a.m.
Okay, but I start work
No.
at 7, so that's really already a bit of a
Well, then-
problem.
Well, just wake up at 5 then. Just you shift it. And then-
See, I tried to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, but then that didn't work out, so I just let my alarm go to 7. Now I wake up at 7, consider my life decisions until 8 o'clock, then I reluctantly get up.
You gotta go walkies. How many steps did you get, Pat?
I got a cool 6,000 today.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Ooh, 6000.
So
I
you got
got
an extra 900.
so I don't think my watch is working because I did, like I was saying, like 20 minutes of Ring Fit that said I walked like 3 kilometers or whatever it was, and my watch is like, hey, you did 600 steps, bro. So I don't think it's working.
Might have just
Oh,
not been
well.
tracking because you were in place the entire time.
I don't know. I've also done more than 600 steps just walking around today, so I don't know.
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
know what the
I'm
guys-
sure a good chunk of Steve's nearly 20k was after he got hit by the car, but the watch would have been in the same place, but he might have been dragged down the street. So was it 20k like with the watch, or was that just his
I
step?
kept getting I was getting bounced up and down. So like,
Yeah, that's
on the-
what I'm saying.
on the-
But like,
yeah, on
were
the
you
down
getting?
bounces
I
one,
see,
on the
you're
up
committing
bounces two.
insurance fraud.
No, it's only fraud if you didn't get hit by a car.
If you wait, what?
He's not wrong.
I was doing the run it straight challenge with the Toyota Hilux. You should see what it came away with.
Yeah, best 2 out
You
of 3,
should
am
see
I
the
right?
other guy. Fuck.
Yeah.
Was it Yoda on
Let's-
ketamine
let's-
again?
No, it wasn't
What?
a 96 Civic.
What's that?
I can't believe that was a pretty niche reference, but like,
Yeah, I'm missing some extreme context, but what I'm not missing context on, Josh, you have alluded to some tech that may or may not be broken. Welcome back to the What's Broken in Everyone's Tech Lives Krispy Kreme segment. Josh,
You've
what
tried
broke?
every week for like the past 30 weeks. It hasn't happened. Now it's finally time again.
Well, I mean, that's because I went to Josh's house and broke it for him. But yeah, I guess
Son
I'll
of a
take
bitch.
I guess I'll take the win, Seth. Thanks.
Well, I mean, I think this watch is broken, but that's no surprise. I literally like pulled it out from like a bottom of a drawer and was like, "Hey, I wonder if this still works for Steptember." No, I don't think it does. And then the like
Does
2
it have
days
like
ago,
does it have like a crowbar shaped dent in the face of it?
no, but there is a long scratch down the front of the face. And like the band is like definitely worse for wear.
What'd you
I think
do,
maybe
man?
the sensors all
Haven't had
scratched
it,
on the
you've
bottom.
had it for like a couple of weeks.
The watch.
Oh, sorry. I think you were talking about that. Sorry.
Oh, no. The watch I've had since like whenever the very first Samsung watch released, that's this version. So a
Jeez,
hot
get a
minute.
new watch. I have to get a new watch
maybe.
like every year or two because I just wear them all the time and they're like, nope.
Get a new watch every year or two because the bunnies eat the charger.
I mean, at
I
that
hate
point,
that
you just
so
need a
much.
charger, not a whole watch.
No, but then you're gonna get the charger.
Bro, just replace the bunny.
Surely the bunny's not a bad idea.
Well, you know how there's like the
already done.
Energizer bunny, right? So it keeps trying to plug itself in, but it's like, oh, I need an outlet, so it eats through the watch charger.
Didn't Duracell
Wrong.
have a bunny as well?
Wrong side, bunny.
Maybe. I can't remember.
But yeah, so I think this is broken. I think well, my VR is definitely broken, despite only having it for like 3 or 4 weeks tops now.
Did you poo in it?
Sorry, what was that?
Did you poo in it?
No, I didn't.
Steve, you can't go around asking people if they shat on their VR. That's not what people mean by that.
Just
So every
making
time
sure.
I
Like,
say
I
I'm
don't know.
broke-
I don't have one. I don't know what it may or may not be used in the toilet.
Well, everyone like so I've said to people I broke VR and they're like, oh, what, like did you hit it? Did you like walk into something? Did you like like throw something or something? Whatever.
He's playing
'Cause it's,
Nintendo Wii and he
VR,
threw
right?
his fucking thing.
Yeah,
in his
just
head.
fucking but no, so like there's these little base stations that come for like the tracking. And apparently, so these are just basically Vive base station 2s. The index uses the same ones. And apparently, if it just starts flashing red, it means there's a hardware fault. And this bag, I would have thought if anything was going to break, it would have been the controllers that I'm using tonight. If I hit something, if I drop them, just from general wear or tear, right? Or the headset, like, I might walk into something, it might fall off my head if I'm like, very active, whatever. But no, the base station that literally doesn't move and has not moved a single inch since I put it down on my desk, just decided that it was going to no longer work. So, yeah, they don't have any more inside Australia, period. And it's going to take multiple weeks and or months to get it replaced. So the thing I've had for multiple weeks, I cannot use for multiple weeks, and I'm not very impressed.
Okay, so that sucks. Boohoo for you, all that. So what sort of Krispy Kreme did you get?
I did not. I was too depressed. I went to
Okay,
bed.
well,
I
would've
even
been really
asked him
good
the
if
moment
you'd-
I even asked him if he was going to go get Krispy Kreme the moment he said it was broken, and he just turned me down.
Yeah,
He made the Discord hang up noise.
I think I
He
quite literally
did.
was. Yeah, I think I was quite literally talking to Saif in Discord, and I sat there trying to fix it for like a couple of hours, and then I just went, "No, I'm going to bed," and just like clicked like the disconnect at the same time, just went to sleep.
Didn't,
like I was just
didn't
done.
even give me a chance to say goodbye.
No, I was not in the mood. Valve, if you're listening, you can make it up to me by sending me another base station and a Steam Deck.
And a Steam Deck.
And a Steam Deck.
Wait, is this covered under warranty or is it? What's the deal with that?
It should be under warranty, but because so first of all, the warranty for them everywhere else in the world, basically, you go through the Steam store, because you can only buy them through Steam. And
Oh yeah, true.
it links to your Steam account. So if I'm trying to put the warranty through Steam, you go through and it's like, oh, cool. Well, I can't find a Valve like index linked with your Steam account, so I get fucked. And you're like, oh, that's cool. So I can't do it through Steam. And talking to EB Games, where I got it from, is the only place you can get it in Australia at the moment. I called them up and they're like, oh, have you tried Steam? I was like, yeah, I have. Because
like,
I knew
okay,
exactly
so-
what they were going to say.
So maybe that didn't work, but did you try Epic Game Store?
No. But yeah,
Oh,
EB
that's
Games
a-
doesn't have any of them inside Australia because obviously they sold every single one of them that was available in Australia because it's only been out a couple of weeks. And they don't know when they're getting more, apparently. And the solution is to send the kit, not just the base station,
The whole
to
thing.
the US.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. So
Why don't you just put the headset on and go to the US in the metaverse?
well, because the VR doesn't work. Aren't you listening?
You got you there.
Well, actually, that's not entirely true. One of the base stations works, so I was like, well, you know what? Maybe I can play one of these games. Because I bought like a heap of VR games because I really wanted to justify spending so much money on this VR set. And the moment I finished buying like a whole bunch of VR games that I wanted to play, I sat down and looked at it and I'm like, why is that one glowing red? And that's when everything went wrong. So I tried to play Super Hot anyway, which was one of the first ones I wanted to play.
Oh,
And
nice.
I was like, okay, well, this should be okay, right? Like, it's just a single base station. Like, what kind of difference will it make? But everything, like, when I'm trying to, like, aim with the gun, like, it's completely uncalibrated. It doesn't work. If I try to, like, throw something, whatever, it doesn't work. If I, like, take a step, it doesn't register it immediately kind of thing. Like, if I'm looking in a certain direction towards the left, because it's a left base station, it doesn't really pick up and work correctly. It's just doesn't work. So the actual, like, video feed is fine. It's just the calibration.
So you can only just watch like the VR movies.
I don't even know if that's real, but that'd be cool.
Oh, well, that's a shame. But nevertheless, onwards we must press. So, around the lunch for this week. Steve, what have you been up to?
I have been playing What Remains of Edith Finch.
Based.
Oh, so you ran out of 12 minutes.
I ran out of 12 minutes. I got all the achievements for that game. I am done with it. It is no longer on Game Pass anyway.
I'm still upset that segment took longer than 12 minutes.
So am I. Definitely other than listening to Steve talk generally, that was definitely the negative of last week's episode.
Because Josh wasn't on it last week, right?
Yeah, sure.
I'm upset that I missed First Impression because that's one of my favorite games.
What?
What, 12 minutes?
No. What Remains of Edith Finch. I thought you were making a joke about how short it is.
Oh. No.
No, you had to be there, man.
I haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah, thanks.
And what did I say? I exactly knew that this would happen. Anyway, that sounds good, Steve. I'm sure we'll get into that. Saif, what have you been up to this week?
I've been playing more Saints Row. I've been playing that since it came out. I didn't talk about
Saints Column.
Shit.
I got him. He's starstruck. He's starstruck. I got it. That's the most cleverest thing I've ever said.
I didn't even hear what you said, so
It took me a second to register what you had said, and then it was like, it's too late to make a comment about it.
So Josh, and for anybody else at home that didn't hear me, I said Saints Column.
Wait. No. It's okay. Josh, we can do a recreation, all right? Let's just go back in time, 3 minutes.
Fucking Zoidberg it, all right.
My name is Saif. I edit the podcast for free because I do it out of the kindness of my heart. I've been playing Saints Row since it came out. Steve, this was like, oh my god, you were there. What were you waiting for?
He's like, line.
You served it and it fell flat on your face.
You're the guy that gets the you're the Terminator that gets the assignment to go back in time. You go back in time, you go, oh, I fucked up. I let him live. Can we do a do-over? Is that possible? Yeah, he said Saints Column. Haha, very funny. We move on.
You're just upset because he spiked. He didn't spike your serve. No,
so you're gonna say like didn't spike his drink.
I've been up to a lot of things, but I'm only going to talk about Saints Row this week.
Okay, cool.
I'm too tired to talk about anything else.
Fair enough. And Josh, other than absolutely nothing, what have you been up to this week?
Does depression count? No, I haven't really been up to anything at all. I will try and into the Edith Finch stuff though.
Didn't you go see the Dragon Ball movie?
Yeah, we did. That was like 2 weeks ago though. And that was very good. We can talk about that.
I only did a small talk about it last week, so we can go into in-depth spoilers this week if you want.
It's only been out for 2 weeks. No, I don't really want to go into in-depth spoilers, although the entire internet has.
I mean, they've been doing that since it came out in Japan as well.
We've been doing it since before it came out in Japan too. But yeah. But I'm happy to talk about generalized, but I don't want to go into spoilers.
Okay, I just had to look this up because I wasn't sure that it was right. Seth, when you say that you only briefly talked about it last week, was that before or after we recorded 18 minutes of you talking about the Dragon Ball movie?
Yes.
Nearly half of it.
Because I could have gone
briefly talked about it for an entire Dragon Ball episode.
Yes. Like, I hear Seth say, I only briefly talked about it last week, and there's like a little voice in my head that just goes, no, he talked about it for a while.
I don't think
I get checked for the 12 minutes.
They call me Snoopy because I got to fact check that shit. No, that was 18 minutes, my man.
Briefly wasn't the word I was looking for. I was like, I slightly touched on it without going into spoilers.
18 minutes, slightly touched.
Yes.
Well, you know what? At least it's legal.
How long was the film?
An hour and a half.
He's doing the calculations in his head.
Yeah,
Everybody
he
give him a
is.
minute.
You're going to hear the gears turn.
What do you mean? All I know is that it's more than 12 minutes.
Oh.
Do you have a master degree?
So I talked about it for about close to 1/5 of the length of the movie.
Yeah,
Hang
quick
on.
maths.
Close to, not exactly 1/5.
No,
Yeah,
that's
sure. No, it's fine. You know what? We'll move on. We'll move
Let's
on.
spend
It'll be
18
fine.
minutes talking about how long he spoke about it for. Sounds
Well, I
fun.
mean, we're getting close. And what did you get up to, Patrick? Thanks for asking, everyone. I finished Cult of the Lamb, which I will give my closing impressions. Yeah, I won't expand a huge amount because I got most of what I wanted to say out of the way last week, but I will clarify a couple points that I made and give my overall thoughts. But that all sounds good. Why don't we start with... Actually, why don't we continue the movie chat, honestly? I mean, we only had 18 and a half minutes of that brief chat, so why don't we just turn it into a more fully fleshed segment, you know? Give it some actual time.
Okay,
This
Josh,
is when both of you, start talking at the same time, and then
Yeah,
Steve
no,
says, "Oh, no, that's cool. Let's all talk at the same time," and then he goes back to playing in traffic.
Josh, do you want to start off? Because I talked about this fairly well. Well, not well. I was all over the place last week because I expected to have you to bounce off of.
You're currently all over the place, I'm not going to lie.
And instead, he tried bouncing off Steve and I, and we both just looked blankly at him the whole time.
Yes, we also saw that movie.
Well, there's no point in me repeating myself, so why don't you go into whatever it is you want to talk about it, and I'll bounce off to you then.
Oh God. Okay. So, Josh, what was your overall impressions of the story? Because last week I
This
said
is literally a schizophrenic conversation. What the fuck? Are we seriously doing this?
Josh put me on the spot because I talked about it last week. Okay.
You know what, I'm going to give you a 30-second review, Chief. You ready?
Yeah, I was going to say, what was your overall impressions of the story? Because I talked about a little bit last week without giving away the spoilers of what happens after the first act. So basically,
I don't even know where the first act would end.
Basically, up to the first fight with between Piccolo and Gamma 2. I didn't spoil too much after that.
I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler to say what the major villains are, considering they've been literally the entire selling point of this movie. But my overall impression of the movie is like very, very solid. Like I'd probably give it at least an 8.5 probably. Yeah, probably 8.5. I just wish it had a bit more impactful music. But the actual like animation of it, the stylized way that they do the fights and a lot of the different camera angles and everything are just excellent. Like it just really, really hit me very well. I thought it was an excellent movie. I thought the villains were cool and interesting, and it was going to throwback to the original Dragon Ball and also some of the stuff through Dragon Ball Z. So tying that all in really nicely for what is probably my favorite arc of Dragon Ball Z as well. Just sort of relived in this.
Also heavily based on Sentai.
I mean, aren't all the androids?
You don't need to comment on it, Josh. Just move on. The 2 seconds of silence after he said it was more than enough.
No, not all the androids were based on Sentai.
These were particularly Sentai, though. You're right. I mean, the entire like premise of this one dude is like, I just want to build like cool looking superheroes, and his idea of cool is Sentai, which is entirely incorrect. But good on him.
I mean, you're entirely wrong about that. Kamen Rider and Sentai do have really cool moments, but go off.
Moments. Yeah, but I thought that the actual movie was excellent. Like I think the only thing that held it back was that it maybe, I feel like it, like the first half of it was pretty well paced. There was fights throughout the movie. I think the first half might have been a little bit too slow, but it really kept me engaged the entire time, and it wasn't a typical like Dragon Ball, we're going to fight for 30 minutes and then I'm going to do one finishing attack and it's all going to be over kind of thing. It was a lot of really good moments throughout each of the fights, and it was just very well put together. Like I said, I think the only thing that was really missing for me was in this one there wasn't really much music that like hit hard. Like there was no like Resurrection F stuff going on. So
for me, the example was the Broly movie. The Broly movie had a very dynamic soundtrack that was absolutely amazing and so different for Dragon Ball that it was really unique. And,
It was, yeah. And the art for that movie was excellent too, actually.
Yeah. That was like peak Dragon Ball animation in 2D.
Yeah. But that's basically my impression of it. If you even slightly like Dragon Ball, I'd recommend going to watch it. If you don't really like Dragon Ball, you'd probably still enjoy it, honestly, because it's not very like drawn out shonen kind of stuff. It is still a very good and entertaining movie, and I'd still recommend giving it a watch.
And if you don't like Goku, especially go watch the movie.
Yeah, my boy Piccolo really out here.
Yeah, no, the fact that this is a Piccolo movie is so good. Like
Piccolo and Gohan, my favorite father and son.
I also really like that. So it is just me like watching it, but I really enjoy that everyone has for years been shitting on Goku for being a bad father, and it's just turned around and it's like, oh no, Gohan's also a bad father. He's just shoving everything off onto Piccolo so he can do his own work.
Yeah, well, the Saiyans, like they're not really. I don't think father material. Let's put it that way.
I know Vegeta's pretty good at dad when he's not beating the shit out of his son.
I want you to think about that sentence. There was Vegeta and Goku in it for like quite a little bit as well, and they have like a brawl, and that moment was really good too. Actually, one thing I didn't mention is this movie is funny as fuck. I didn't expect it to be so funny, but it's really, really good.
Yeah,
There's a lot of good moments that pay off
throughout the entire movie.
Especially if you know anything about like Dragon Ball's story and Dragon Ball Z's story. Like there's a few things that really they just sort of drive home. I can't remember what Bulma said exactly, but there was one thing she said, and I was like, damn.
Bulma has quite a few good lines. A lot of it is based around her being extremely petty and being called out for it, and she's telling everyone not to judge her.
Yeah,
because she's using the Dragon Ball's wishes to make herself look prettier instead of getting cosmetic surgery.
Yeah, to like reverse aging and stuff. But there was one where like, so I think it was to like Krillin just being like, "Are you actually gonna do anything?" basically, and he's like, "No." It was good. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. One good one was
like after like this huge thing goes off, she sees Krillin and she's like, "Oh well, yeah, everyone's okay based on just Krillin being alive."
Everyone else is sturdy enough. If Krillin's alive, everyone's alive. But yeah, that's basically all I really have to say about it. It's an excellent movie. I recommend going to watch it.
Cool.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you wanted to add to that set?
No, I feel like I chimed in enough during Josh's spotlight, and I said everything I feel like I wanted to say last week.
But briefly, right?
Yes, very briefly for a fifth of the movie's length.
Yeah, that's all we really ask for here at Fast Travel Lounge. Thank you for that, Josh. Where shall we go next?
Let's go to you. Talk about Cult of the Lamb for us, Big
Cult of the Lamb? Yeah, okay, cool. So last week, gave it an 8 out of 10. The highlights, I really liked the art style, the music, like how it sort of packaged itself as a game, mostly visually. Really liked all of that. I said last week that for me, the negatives were you kind of see everything too quickly on the combat side, and that it plays its hand and it doesn't really reinvent, or it doesn't really innovate on that side of it, and therefore I gave it an 8 out of 10. And at that time, I was 5-ish hours through, and I've now finished it at probably 15-ish hours. I think that was slightly longer than the average playtime, but so the problem is, right? So first of all, have to say on the outset, still say it's an 8 out of 10. I'm sort of bouncing between 7.5 and 8 out of 10. And that's entirely because of the combat section. I'll explain why in a sec. Me spending an extra couple hours to finish the game is entirely on the back of the game deciding that if you break stuff in the combat areas, so each little room that you walk into is like a Binding of Isaac room, right, where you can destroy stuff. But you can get resources from destroying stuff, which naturally means that every room that I walk into, I have to destroy everything in just in case I don't get a particular resource. So almost certain that's where a non-trivial amount of my time in this game has gone, which is just walking around smashing stuff. So
yeah, no, I need to check every chest on the way over to wherever you're going.
Well, I mean, it's not even chests. It's just like,
hey, look, grass. I might get grass out of that grass. I need to cut that grass.
I need to make sure that I'm not wasting time not cutting the grass.
Cut the lawn to get rupees.
Damn right.
Basically.
So
yeah.
To kind of rehash what I said about the combat, it plays itself out a little bit too quickly, and a lot of the mechanics and parts that I really wanted to get into or really wanted more out of in the game went there. And unfortunately, I turned out to be right in that. So what I mean by that is you have a weapon tree, or you have like an upgrade tree to unlock more. So you have like a melee weapon and a ranged weapon. That's by and large basically all there is. And then some tarot cards to kind of augment how a particular run goes. The problem is, because you only have those two weapons, there's very little way for them all to play together into a build, which is what I was missing from games like Hades, Enter the Gungeon, and Binding of Isaac. Where I think Enter the Gungeon is probably the one that... Oh, no, even then there are ways that it innovates as well. Basically, the whole problem is that they have pieces of what could be a really good combat system, but the problem is they never let you fully flesh out how to explore it properly. So you wind up pretty quickly identifying, as soon as you walk into the first combat room of the run, it'll give you a random ranged weapon and a random melee weapon. And sometimes, if it's a particular weapon type that you like, or a particular weapon type that you know you are good with, that's you done. You don't really need to go out of your way to look for another weapon or an upgrade or anything else, because that's sort of it. And then that's also somewhat true of the pathways through the rooms, where any branching pathway is only really about one room deep, where if you have a choice between left and right, and if you head to the right, and it's not another combat room, chances are it's either a shop or maybe one extra combat room, and then you end up having to go back and go to the left to progress through towards the boss anyway. So there's very limited kind of exploration of a floor like there is in Binding of Isaac and Enter the Gungeon. But there's also, so it's trying to take after the idea of a more linear map like Hades does, but the thing is, Hades tells you on the outset, you have a choice to make between which door you go through. Do you want this particular reward or that particular reward? And so Cult of the Lamb does this sort of awkward thing where it straddles both ideas, where it doesn't tell you what's coming up next, and it doesn't give you a choice, or it gives you a very limited set of choices. And the final thing that I want to touch on from continuation from last week is that I said that when you go through a particular floor, you have to play it out 4 times, and then you get to fight the boss, and then that's that floor kind of done. There are reasons to go back through previous floors. There are a few NPCs. That will give you tasks to go back and do in the completed floors, as well as sometimes your followers will just ask you to collect a particular resource, which you can only get from that particular floor. But even though there is a reason to go back to previous floors, and once you've beaten the main boss of those floors, there is technically an endless mode unlocked. The timing mechanic of you're constantly beholden to the like day cycle that is impacting your followers and your base building and everything else that's constantly happening in the background, it becomes really hard to justify continuing into an endless run. Or I guess to put it another way, I feel like they developed Cult of the Lamb around the amount of time taken to get through a run of, I don't know how many rooms that would be, but however many rooms in a combat run that you go through, that is loosely equivalent to a day or 2 days. And so the problem is, you still have to do that amount of time first. It doesn't let you go back to your base to like cook food for your followers or anything. It just says, hey, do you want to continue this endless run? Warning, if you do continue this endless run, the next time that you will be allowed to go back to your cult, unless you die and lose all your resources, is if you get to an exit point, which would be another several nodes away. And the problem is, because the day system is constantly ticking over, that could be another, 2 or 3 days. And so at this point, you've been away from your cult for like, somewhere between 2 and 4 days that things start going wrong.
There is actually a way to go back. I don't know if you use it, but basically you focus on it for a little while and then they teleport you back. But the first time I used it, I was like, okay, cool. That means I can, like, now that I've beat the first boss and I have like his item, basically, that's when I unlocked that ability. But then I used it and it teleported me back, and then I was like, okay, cool. And now I want to go continue my run. And I went in and it's like start again, and I was like, Oh, so it's that kind of teleport back. It's like, I need to go back and like drop everything, so the run dies. So it's like, why have you put this in the game then?
That's exactly what I mean, is that there's no nice way to segment an endless run or anything kind of combat focused without significantly hindering what could happen to your cult at the same time.
Yeah, the only reason I mention it up is it's one of those things again where I strongly agree with you, where it's the game's trying to do too many things in slightly different ways. It's like they've seen stuff in other games and thrown it in because they feel like it should be there, but then they haven't expanded on it or made it useful or impactful in any way. Like that teleport back, like if that wasn't in the game, I would have never noticed. But the fact that it is there and it wasn't really utilized, exactly.
It was because they give you the choice of what you want to unlock with the resources from the boss characters, and I unlocked that one last.
Oh, well, there you
go. The ending was basically as I expected, which I'm not going to spoil, but anyone that's either heard me talking about Cult of the Lamb or played parts of Cult of the Lamb could probably fairly easily see where it's going. And all I'll say is there isn't exactly a twist involved.
There isn't a twist? Oh, God.
Well, it gave me a choice, and I picked the choice that I felt was the obvious one. So part of me does want to know what the other choice was, and whether that would actually twist it.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, but otherwise, for all intents and purposes,
and he could play the game for another 15 hours to get that other choice.
Honestly, I don't think there's another 15 hours of game in there.
Yeah, so that's basically all I wanted to expand on. The main takeaways were it's still very enjoyable to play, and visually and audioally, or orally, I think that's the word. And
it has a good OST.
Visually and orally, it's great.
Don't they sell the OST on Steam as well?
Maybe.
Probably.
Usually, most indie games do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm surprised how good the music was for this small company, Australian company too.
All right, Australian games. All right, there we go.
Yeah, but
sorry, New Zealand bros.
All up, very fun game. Would recommend because it isn't at a AAA price point, but it's the sort of game where you just need to be aware that it is much more Animal Crossing and much less Binding of Isaac, even though a lot of the marketing materials made me think that was a more balanced distribution of what you do. But anything that you wanted to add to that, Josh, given that you're sort of in the middle of playing it?
Yeah, I'll add just a couple of things, but it's basically just mirroring your thoughts. I think we even spoke about it not that long ago. Basically just going, this is a good game, but it's missing a couple of things basically. And I think we both spent more time outside the runs than inside the runs at that point. I think.
In saying that, do you think they were trying to do too many things at once when they could have focused more on one element and really pushed that further?
I think the game, unironically, would be a stronger game without the combat.
Interesting.
The whole cult building aspect was interesting, and if there was different rewards and different challenges in that system, I probably would have enjoyed the game more. But in saying that, I probably wouldn't have bought the game because I bought the game looking for a Binding of Isaac style game. So, and it's not particularly bad at either, like what Patrick was saying. It's just, I expected there to be a more even distribution of, like, in terms of the base building and everything, you've got, like, dozens of buildings, you've got dozens of skills, you've got a whole bunch of different things. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm really excited to sort of explore this and get it automated and, like, find my, like, problem solving stuff. Like, how do I make this stuff work automatically so I can do the combat? And then getting to the combat, it's like, oh, there's no real way to automate that town fully, and I understand why now, because there's not enough depth in this combat for it to be its own game. If the combat was its own game, it would be a bad game. But because it's supplementing the town, or vice versa, it's okay. Like, it's just another task almost. But the game itself is interesting enough, and the art is interesting enough as well, and some of the quests are funny and engaging that you're going to stick with the game. It's a very good game. I think the only thing I wanted to add is that what I would have liked to seen is almost exactly what you said, where Hades, you've got your different weapon skills that you unlock, you choose a different weapon to swap up the combat, You throughout the run you pick up abilities and strengths that change your run. I didn't think like Hades was built for the combat, so that they've done that extremely well. I think what I would have liked to see is maybe if they're going to give you a different weapon every run, maybe have something that upgrades and changes that weapon throughout the run. So maybe you pick up resources inside the thing, and then you get skills for that weapon based on the resources. Like if you're going to have to break everything anyway, maybe you'll break rocks and get iron or whatever, and then there could be like a blacksmith NPC or something that could upgrade it in certain ways. There's the tarot card system, but none of them are impactful in terms of the way that you use your weapons or anything. The combat doesn't feel different enough through the tarot card system for it to be worth it, IMO. It just kind of exists. It's there to make your life slightly easier usually, and it's not enough difference. So basically just sort of mirroring what Patrick said. Yeah, it's still a very good game, especially for the price point.
Yeah, I will disagree in that I don't think removing the combat would make the game stronger, because I think eventually you'll hit. So to me, the combat serves as a way to break up what you're doing in the base building, and that if the combat wasn't there, so there were a couple times where I think we both went through multiple days of base building, but you sort of hit a point where the next thing that you would do for the base building is to wait for a data pass, and it is good that there is some completely different gameplay loop to kind of help that along.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If there was different challenges involved in that system, then I probably would have enjoyed that more. Like if there was things to do outside of that sort of initial town loop. I think they've built a very good base for both of the combat and the town building. They're just not intertwined enough, and they're not separate enough to be separately enjoyable either.
And that was the other thing, and that when I say that they have a lot of the pieces that would make a good combat system, that's sort of what I mean, in that because they have a tarot card system, I am just about to rehash what I've just been saying, but the whole point, I want a game where the combat system lets me come up with a build, or I want a gameplay loop where the combat makes me feel like this is the run where I achieve a particular goal. And when you give me two distinct things that don't interact and then some tarot cards to augment those, that is a worse gameplay experience to me than removing a lot of the tarot cards but leaving the ones in there such that they link the melee and ranged weapons better. I think is more where I'm trying to get to that. So the final couple points, what's your favorite weapon class, like melee and ranged, that you've used so far, Josh?
I don't think I have any. Like honestly, like they all just feel so similar. Like I don't really have a favorite. I think if I had to pick, like the heavier weapons are you just get through the runs faster, I find, because you just one or two hitting things. The daggers, I usually find myself in games like to do like a / run away kind of thing, like almost glass cannon and do lots of damage quickly and then roll away. This game doesn't really lean into that enough for that to be fun for me. So probably just like a heavy weapon to just do lots of damage slowly and then just roll away kind of thing, like one tap roll.
Correct answer. The Warhammer is the best weapon.
Yeah,
thank you for
it's
agreeing.
anything that feels engaging enough, honestly.
The second question, actually, this one is less for you, Josh, because I think we've discussed this, but the one other major change between this and when I played it last week is that I've now unlocked all of the rituals and little upgrades that I can do in the base. And so what the game does is when you hit a certain upgrade point, it offers you the choice. Do you want this ritual or this ritual? And you can pick, I think there's about,
there's
20?
4 per thing, so there's 5 points. So
yeah, 5 points and 4. Yeah. So 20.
Yeah.
There are 20 rituals to pick from. There are 40 rituals, and you pick 20.
20. Yeah,
and you pick 20 while you play it. And so and this is kind of annoying, in that these ones do have more interactivity than the weapon system, in that some rituals work really well together. So I have trained my cult to fear old people, and what I mean by that is that
respectful and realistic.
They're fearing old people because they bought up all the plots of land in your tiny little area.
Yeah, see, there we go. Yeah, when they have houses, no. So the followers all have a perk, which is that they will lose faith in me as a leader if a person dies of old age. And you're thinking, but Patrick, don't people die of old age all the time?
They want
Not
to be
necessarily.
sacrificed, don't they?
Patrick found a different solution.
So my solution is to any cult member that's getting a little old, little long in the tooth, if you will. I will find 2 of them, and I will force them into an arena where 2 will enter, but only 1 will leave.
Oh,
and so
old people gladiator battles.
Old people gladiator battles. And so I do that, and then the victor is celebrated as, having killed the other old person, and then I sacrifice that person too.
Okay.
And that
only
keeps my
strong
little
gets to be
community.
sacrificed.
Exactly.
Imagine going like, I win, I get to keep my life, and then this giant tentacle's like,
Pretty much, yeah. That is how it goes. But yeah, so Cult of the Lamb. This is probably the last that I'll speak about it. Love the game. Very well polished. Everything. It's just the combat really just can't make it game of the year material for me. 8 out of 10. Old man bum fights are excellent. And after 15 hours, I did in fact hit tax-exempt mega church private jet status. So, thank you for coming to my TED talk.
I think we called it Pat Talk.
Hey, yeah, should have. Cult of the Pat.
Mm.
Pat of the Lamb.
Oh wait, now hang on. What did you call your cult?
Cult of the Lamb.
Did you really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
What'd you call yours?
Goat.
Cult of the Goat. That's not funny at all.
No.
The greatest of all
You're just
time.
the greatest of all time.
No, as in like instead of lamb, it's a goat.
Yeah, that was part of the thing. Yeah, okay, whatever. I thought it was clever.
See,
Jake, a friend of ours, called his thigh. What did he call it? I think it was like
Thigh-highs?
No, it was something along the lines of like thideology.
Weeb.
Yeah, that's just as deplorable as I expected.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you to me for that chat. I don't know.
Thanks, Patrick.
Yeah,
Let's give Patrick a round of applause, everybody.
Hey,
Yeah.
thank you. Hi, I'm Patrick, and I've been sober for all of 20 minutes. Next.
How long have we been recording for? Over 20 minutes. Oh my god.
I know what I said. Next up on the list, why don't we talk about Saints Row? Saif.
Yeah, okay. So I want to start off by saying that
I thought it was Saints Column.
Shut up, Stephen.
We tried this. We already tried to repeat this, and I extended my hand with an olive branch in it, and you know what you did? You slapped it out of my hand.
See, the problem is that Steve only wants to interrupt me, not you.
I don't like olives.
Based olive hater opinion.
All right, sorry for interrupting. Well, I'm not really sorry. Continue, Seth.
Yeah, so I want to start off by saying that this game would have the highest chance of being my favorite Saints Row game if it wasn't for all the fucking glitches that caused me to restart missions or quit out of the game to reset the game state. It's been a great time, but also extremely frustrating to play through. Some of the funny, we've had some. So I've been playing this co-op with Trinity. We got it for our birthdays to play together. Now that we've gone through all the other Saints Row games. And yeah, we've had some funny glitches pop up, like I've just completely disappeared from her game world, but I was still interacting with all the objects somehow. So a ghost would just be driving a car around in her world for some reason. And yeah, it's really hard to explain why this happened. I have no idea. It's just really stupid. There's also other frustrating ones, like just for no reason at all. The co-op partner icon will just disappear from your minimap in your large map, so you can't track where the other person is. And the world is very large, so you can. It's really hard to actually try and track them down. I've found that when they get downed and you revive them, that will bring the icon back up. So it's just a matter of like, hey, go get downed, just draw some aggro, and then let me revive you, and then that'll fix up the map.
So basically, if you played the game alone as God intended, then you would have no glitches.
Yeah, then it would be fine.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure there'd still be a lot of glitches because some of them are like mission based, like enemies spawning in the wrong spot of the map. So there was a mission we had to do where the reward was getting a sniper rifle, and you don't get a sniper before that point. So you go in, you take out some enemies that come up in front of you. Then there's supposed to be a bunch that come up from your rear, but they kept spawning on top of the bridge above where they're meant to come in. And since you don't have a sniper, you can't snipe them from where you are. And if this game is really strict about the mission zones, so if you try to go around to where they are on top of the highway, there's a good chance you'll end the mission from timeout. We only just managed to do that because Trin had a motorbike with infinite boost to just slightly beat the timer by like 1 second.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah.
Sounds like it improved
fast.
your gameplay experience, actually. Beating a timer by 1 second is kind of hype.
It is, but also frustrating when it's your third time doing that mission.
Skill issue.
Yeah, Phil just
I was about to say the same thing.
I've definitely had a glitch like that before. It was either 4 or Get Out of Hell, where shit would just it told me that shit was spawning, like that there were sexy minions in my area to kill, but I don't know where it spawned them because the dots were on my minimap, but I couldn't leave the building because it would time the mission out, and I couldn't find them in the building, so I just had to kind of save, reload, and retry for like probably 15 to 20 minutes before they finally spawned somewhere that I could actually see and attack them. So I guess it's nice to know that even the Saints Row reboot has the same old problems.
Yep. Yeah, this new one, I'm glad there's one glitch I'm glad that they've solved. It's the good old-fashioned insurance fraud glitch where for some reason the game just does not spawn vehicles in Saints Row 3, 4, and Get Out of Hell. It was super frustrating to try and do those missions in co-op. They fixed it in this game, and in some cases they've made it better because you can cause traffic jams, so you get your adrenaline boost going, and you just start bouncing over cars into one spot and just rack up millions of dollars in insurance.
Nice. I can't wait for you to talk about how you've managed to afford part of a house with all that insurance fraud.
We own a church at the moment. Does that count?
Yeah, like a call to the lamb.
Yeah,
Everything
I was
comes full
thinking, I
circle.
thought church was. Wait, you going for my tax exempt any % run?
I refuse to elaborate. I'm out of here.
Bro, it's a yes or no question.
What did your therapist tell you about those?
Throw back to last week's episode.
Yeah, what did your therapist tell you last week about those? Have you talked to him since?
Yes.
See, that was a yes or no question.
Exactly. That's cool. So, I guess give us a bit more. Like you gave us the sort of hour long first impressions last week. So, does it? I guess in the broadest possible sense, does this feel like a Saints Row game?
Yes, it feels like a good middle point between Saints Row 2 and 3 in terms of tone, and it's pretty close to 3 in terms of activities and what you're doing around the world. There's a few things that they've added in extra, like wingsuit missions and drug smuggling runs, but yeah, in terms of like the game itself, it does feel like a good successor to the Saints Row franchise. It feels like a good direction to take the series after what they've done with Saints Row 4. Like, Saints Row 4 went over the top. This feels like a good return back to the ground a little bit.
So, returning back to the ground, does that mean that there are still pieces of absurdity, like in Saints Row 3, or is it much more grounded than that?
Yeah, no, there's still pieces of absurdity, like you being a one-man killing machine, jumping onto fighter planes to get this drug lord villain and just go on a crusade against him. There's an entire quest line that's based around Mad Max LARPing, and and you get weapons based on it, and they're like, oh yeah, so pretty much everyone in the city is into this. Like you shoot them and they'll react to it. Don't worry about it. The entire city knows about the LARPing event. Everyone's taking part of it. So yeah, go ham.
These bullets feel like hollow points.
They're I think they're supposed to be like just Nerf darts basically, but they also have a lot of fun with those. And like so in the combat in this game, you've got like the special kills. Like in Saints Row 3, you'd have things like you'd run up to someone and do like a DDT or like a surf on their body type of attack. They've integrated those into the gameplay loop this time around. It's now a one-time use, and then it goes onto a charger. And when you use it, it heals up any damage you've taken. And they have a lot of elaborate animations for them. Some of them based on wrestling moves. Some of them based on like John Wick type kills. But when you're in your LARPing scenario, it's stuff like you're fake punching people in the guts and they're all like reacting like they're getting hits, or you do the Indiana Jones heart rip out and you just like grab their chest and pull away, acting like you've taken their heart out. It's a lot of stupid fun.
Yeah, that's actually I almost like that more on knowing that they're trying to get close to absurdity without making it over the top.
Yeah,
That
no,
it actually makes it seem more endearing that they got that close, but intentionally.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of tongue-in-cheek fun this time around without going too over the top. And like Saints Row 4 was like super over the top. Aliens invading, Earth gets blown up. It's just balls to the wall absurdity. This one's much more grounded in like, yeah, no, we're going to make jokes and we're going to act like the entire world is in on the joke.
I never even asked, but I'm assuming the new Saints Row wasn't in fact banned in Australia like Saints Row 4 was.
It was not, no. You can easily get it here. I didn't know Saints Row 4 was banned in Australia.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of games were banned in Australia for no fucking reason.
Yeah, I know a lot have, but I didn't know that Saints Row 4 was one of them.
Well, I mean, look at the state of your government for the past 10 years. You're telling me that you want to add being able to play Saints Row 4 to that fucking dumpster fire?
Yeah.
Probably for the best. Saints Row 4 is a good game.
Yeah, Saints Row 4 would have distracted from the Morrison years. Actually,
There are
I
other
guess
games
I
out
guess when
there.
that game came out, it would have been Turnbull years.
Probably, yeah. We would have missed the giant backstabbing, but yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not talk
Yeah.
about Australian politics on a podcast that's international, eh?
So what have you been up to this week? Yeah.
How about that weather we're having, eh? How about
So-
those steps?
this week. Oh, it's not my job, mate. I don't know those.
So I guess it's interesting that we have the kind of tongue-in-cheek humor on that side because so I'm going to compare everything to Saints Row 3 because that's just my favorite Saints Row game.
Yeah, no,
And-
that's also
and-
like my entry point. I played Saints Row 2 before, but that was like
Yeah.
over 10 years ago. I don't remember too much of that game.
yeah,
While Saints
and
Row
in some
3
ways,
through Get Out of Hell are very fresh in memory for me.
yeah, and in some ways, even beyond my favorite Saints Row game, Saints Row 3 is probably just one of my favorite games overall. Just in terms of, I look back on it with my rose-tinted glasses with very favorable opinions. But within that, they maybe this plays into a little bit more of the absurdity. So they had, there were a few tracks on Saints Row 3 that were just absolute bangers. So got to ask about that. And then also, they made a big deal on the weapon customization and weapon upgrade trees. I think I'm thinking of Saints Row 3 when I say that, and not Saints Row 4. But
Yeah,
I'd be
4
curious
was
then.
basically a copy-paste of Freeze, I think.
Yeah, okay, cool. That's sort of what I thought. So if the game is now more grounded and taking itself more seriously than the over-the-top balls-to-the-wall Saints Row 4, is there still the same kind of weapon upgrade flexibility and mechanics, or does that also have to be more grounded for it to kind of keep the aesthetic of what the reboot's going for?
Okay.
And also, is the soundtrack a banger?
Okay, so I'll answer. Okay, since you ended with it, the soundtrack. There's music unlocks in the game, so I can't comment 100% just yet. I haven't heard any like 80s hype tracks, which has been a bummer so far.
Wait, hang on. You music unlocks what?
Yeah, as you go through, you can unlock more music to put into your playlist. I've heard that there's Trinity told me that there was a mission later on where you start your own radio station, and that might play into it a little bit. So
Wait, so hang on. So it's like you got to go to a shop and spend money or something.
no,
So
it's
is it-
through mission unlocks.
Oh,
Yeah.
strange.
But yeah,
Yeah, that doesn't sit right with me. That doesn't.
Imagine sinking more playtime into a game just so you can hear more.
yeah. One of them was I can't remember the name of the music track right off the top of my head. I'm sorry, but there was a mission where a music track played as you were doing a prison breakout, and that unlocks that music track after finishing it. So it kind of like hid the song from you on the radio until after you had finished a mission where it played in gameplay.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's good songs in there. Not a ton I'm familiar with at the moment.
Hey, did we do album of the week?
We didn't. No.
I do not have an album of the week because I slept until now.
One I can point at like right off the top of my head is that they have Sound of the Police in there.
Like the wheel noise?
Yeah.
The sound
yeah.
of the police.
Yep.
I do not know that song.
No, that's
Is there
that's a
a
very
Hootie
good
Hoo?
song. What was that?
Is there a hootie hoo in the background?
I think so, actually.
Dope.
Yeah, that song was really good, and that plays like during the tutorial mission where they're teaching you how to sideswipe police cars because they made getaways a little more gameplay oriented this time around, I guess. Like, instead of just driving and trying to outrun people, you can actually sideswipe people and knock them into the road, and cars have health bars now before they blow up.
I do not think I've heard that Sound of the Police song. I just looked it up. I do not think
Are you
I've heard
serious?
that. No, it doesn't ring a bell.
Someone's never been in trouble with the law before.
Goody
Oh.
two shoes over here.
Yeah, goddamn.
I'm a law-abiding citizen. I am a good boy.
There is
no, so-
nothing. There is
I'd
nothing
hope
worse
so,
than
with where
than
you're working.
me. There's nothing worse than me shoplifting from my local and hearing a cop pull up and blipping the siren, and it plays whoop whoop. This is the sound of the police.
Whoop, whoop.
Hooty hoo.
Yeah,
making that
yeah.
reference.
So I wouldn't say it's a banger for me. It's good. There's a lot of good stuff
It's
in
a
there.
banger for someone.
It's a banger for someone, yes. And I hope that eventually I find some good 80s music in there. 80s hair metal and hair rock.
I like that. Like it was like, is there good music? And you're like, I haven't heard 80s music, so no.
Yeah.
There's
there's
a
nothing.
time
There's
stamp,
nothing 80s. There's nothing
and
90s.
then he
there's-
honorably mentions whoop whoop.
Yeah.
There's nothing 40 years old, so I'm not interested in it. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Give me that or give me Nickelback.
I agree with you, but half the people that listen just went, "What the fuck is wrong with him?"
The other half agree with me and know that I'm speaking the truth.
Why are you booing me? I'm right.
Nickelback sells millions. You all love them. Stop acting like you don't.
And speaking to the other point, the like weapon
Yeah.
upgrade. How do they handle weapons basically?
Weapons
With hands.
are
Right with their hands.
Hey!
Wow.
Got it twice.
Got 'em.
Whoop whoop. This is the sound of the shut the fuck up.
So,
know, it's
so
the sound of the host.
upgrades are on a tier now instead of like the incremental way they were in Saints Row 3. So Saints Row 3, you could go like, oh, let's upgrade the accuracy, the clip size, the damage, add reload speed. You do those in all separate slots. These are like, here's tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 upgrades. Same with cars. But they go further into letting you visually customize things. So you can paint different types of different elements of it. You can put different types of stickers and graffiti on it or decals. Some of them have body mods for them. So instead of an RPG, they showed it in a trailer. I have a guitar case that shoots rockets out of it instead.
When you said you could upgrade cars, are they like actual cars? Like, are you getting like a stage 3 Supra?
Not actual cars. No, but
Why'd you say it like that?
Because it's, oh, holy shit, is that a Supra?
no, they're vehicles made up for the game based on real life like body types.
So they don't have to pay for the licensing fees, I see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Also, speaking of vehicles, a lot of people were really upset about the name of the mechanic in these games being changed from rim jobs to gym robs. At first, I was also a little upset about that because rim jobs is such a good name. But no,
Yeah.
they actually go with a inside joke itself with why this is called Jim Robs. It's actually owned by a guy named J.R. Jim Robs, and his entire business practice is he's a chop shop. He gets you to steal other people's cars so he can sell off the parts himself.
I don't know, man. Inflation's high. Mighty uncertain geopolitical climate. I understand, really.
Don't believe me? Google inflation rule 34.
Don't listen to Stephen about Googling anything.
Don't believe me?
Google Stephen Rule 34.
Please don't
Definitely
do that.
don't.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to Google that right now.
It'll
Find,
be like the
find your
Steven
own
Universe
OnlyFans
thing.
page that you're not running.
Oh, no,
Not
Steve.
running, oh, no.
It's just Steve in a white suit, perhaps
It's-
from
it's-
several years ago.
It's Steven Universe rule 34.
I said it would be Steven Universe. There you go.
That's it. I'm truly cursed. Yeah. Truly cursed.
Yeah, there's a couple more gameplay things I want to quickly touch on. They introduced this new thing called focus in the combat for this game. So the better you do, the more you fill up a special meter. But if you get hits, then it gets deteriorated. These can be used to do special moves. Which are my favorite ones so far have been, hey, the first one you unlock is for 1 bar of focus, you attach a grenade to someone and then throw them into a group of people. And that has been insanely useful the entire game so far because you can use it to just take out a group of like 3 people, no problem. Another really useful one has been, hey, just turn this on and for like the next 20 seconds, any damage you deal will heal you and your co-op partner. So that's been very good. They also changed how leveling up works in these games. Well, not changed how it works, but what rewards you get based off them. So in Saints Row 3, maybe Saints Row 2, I'm not too sure. Whenever you leveled up, it would unlock more customization points you could do. So like at higher levels, you could take less damage overall, or put the money into more gun damage instead, or more stamina, and you had like that type of freedom of choice in how you grew based on how much money you had. In this game, it's a static level up, so like at level 1, you'll unlock one thing, level 2, you'll unlock like a health upgrade, level 10, you'll unlock more focus, and blah 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 until you reach cap. So that's they've made that more static, but I feel like they've done that on purpose, and I don't mind that change all too much.
So
they do more for your money goes towards your criminal empire, which is where you build facilities around the city to unlock more activities and make more money that way.
With that in mind, then, are you do you, based on what you've played so far, think that you hit a stage where you just become a god? Because like Saints Row 3 Endgame was kind of comical in that you just became so overpowered with upgrades.
You eventually unlock an ability where you take no damage.
Yeah, okay, exactly. Wait, you mean for Saints Row 3?
Saints Row 3, yes.
Yeah. So is that also carried over? Or?
No, I haven't seen anything like that in this game so far. It seems as enemies that seem to scale with you pretty well. Like not like they scale themselves, but the type of enemies you run into scale with like how much you should be leveled by that point in the game. So they bring in a couple of higher tier enemies. Some have armor that you need to take out, and then just in general, the gangs aren't as good as the privatized military enemies that are in the game.
Right. Yeah. Which
just
I guess,
like
if you really think about it, probably makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, the last point I want to touch on is I actually really like the characters in this game. The only one I'm kind of on is your friend Eli, because he's the tropey black nerd friend of the group. That's kind of played out at this point. But
the guy from Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah, or the guy from Ned's Declassified.
Is the one that you were angry at me for not knowing?
Wait, do you not know Ned's Declassified?
No, I know the show. I didn't know the person.
I don't remember this conversation ever coming up.
Oh, okay.
Neither. It must have been on your other podcast.
Yeah, cool.
He took
the one I
damn,
attended.
I was going to
week.
say that.
Man, he barely shows up to this podcast. I don't see him running too. Yeah, but he's also the guy that introduces you to the LARPing quest line, and so I kind of forgive him for that. Also, something I really like about the LARPing quest line is your commanding officer when you were working for the private military group. She's really into LARPing as well. She's like queen shit of it. She's going for the crown big time. And so your entire reason for going into the LARPing quest, because when it's kind of like the Christmas missions in Saints Row 4, where the boss at the beginning is like, nah, fuck this, it's so stupid. I don't want any part of Christmas or LARPing or anything. But then they find a reason to get into it, and like once they're invested in it, they go all in, they start really enjoying it. And yeah, so your entire reason for joining the LARPing crew is because you just want to fuck with your former commanding officer, because she was a huge bitch to you for like 3 missions. And so yeah, Eli's just okay. The commanding officer as a villain is pretty good as well. Your other 2 friends are Nina and Kevin. Kevin, you'd assume is a douchebag if I just described him as he's a DJ that's always shirtless and he really loves breakfast. So just based on that, you'd think he's a douchebag.
Wait, no way. You know who else is shirtless and really loves breakfast?
You?
Kevin the Minion. Are you saying that one of the side characters in Saints Row is a minion?
No. God, no.
So what their opinion on bananas?
He really likes waffles.
What about Gru, though? Is he a fan of Gru?
They've never mentioned Gru, but they do like Spanish telenovela.
I don't know what that means.
Spanish
What's
television.
the relevance?
Telemundo.
Okay, this bit. All right.
But yeah, Kevin's like a huge sweetheart. He was, you find out pretty early in the game that he was a foster kid, and
Oh, man,
Oh my
spoilers,
god,
good.
just like the minion.
and you do a mission where you go to
A minion?
you go to Freckle Bitches to get a returning toy that has been around for 20 years, and you,
Freckle bitches.
yeah, the burger chain in the game is called Freckle Bitches.
For Wendy's, oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, that's funny.
I'm pretty sure it's been that way since the first Saints Row as well.
That's fucking excellent.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, so he wants that toy, and another gang's like stolen an entire shipment of it because they're against capitalism. So they're like, no, this is capitalistic greed. We're going to take it for ourselves. So you get the shipment of toys, and you're like, see, you've got like 50,000 of these toys now. You can be happy. And he's like, no, I only needed one. Later on, I'm just going to dress up as Santa and go to the foster home and give the rest to a bunch of needy kids. So he
Wow,
deep
Kevin
down,
the minion definitely wouldn't do that.
So deep down, Kevin's a sweetheart, even though
Patrick, I'm going to strangle you.
and Nina's
You need to stop.
and Nina, she's just really cool in general. She's a team mechanic. The gang that she came from originally are all about cars and car culture, and yeah, she gets done really dirty and has a few badass moments. So yeah, the cast in this game's pretty good. Like they're not Johnny Gat levels, but they're not bad.
Has to be that has to be the natural question.
I like
right?
them.
But
I like them better than Sean D and Pierce.
interesting. Sean D, I can understand, but Pierce?
I didn't really like Pierce.
Pierce with the Japanese energy drink slam dunkerino super commercial. I forget what the actual thing was. Saints Flow.
Yeah,
Saints
Saints
Flow,
Flow.
the energy drink.
Okay,
the
now
Saints
that's
Flow
funny.
stuff was pretty good, but Pierce always pissed me off in missions because he went down every 5 seconds.
Okay, fair. Good. Valid.
It's like, you can't continue the mission because the partner is down. It's fucking Pierce, isn't it? But yeah, no.
It's true.
Overall, I've been really enjoying the game. It's like, I'm going to say a 7 out of 10 because of the glitches. It'd easily be like a 9 out of 10 for me.
With more polish.
With more polish, yeah.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
yeah, overall, I feel like the Saints Row games hit at like an 8 out of 10 in general. So this being like 1 point above really does a lot of wonders, I feel like.
True.
Highly recommend after a couple of patches fix it.
Hopefully they do. Thank you for that, Seth. Finally, for Round the Lounge for this week. I think finally. Well, I guess second finally, because as Steve alluded to, there is no Josh's Album of the Week sponsored by Ford Truck Month. Well, actually, shit, it's a different month.
It's a new month, sponsored by Steptember. Get your steps in.
I thought it was
Sponsored by
sponsored by Ford Step Month.
Sponsored by Super Nut
Sponsored
September.
by my stepdad. No.
Oh no, Step Podcast. What are you doing?
Please don't do that.
That's going to be a treat for future Sep to edit. Yeah, and then finally, I think for Around the Lunch for this week, we have What Remains of Edith Finch. Steve,
Yeah.
take it away.
Okay.
What did remain of Edith Finch?
Not a lot. Not
What?
a lot.
No.
Did
my
you
man
play the
doesn't
game?
understand the story.
What do you mean? Okay, so let's start at the beginning. What Remains of Edith Finch is a video game.
Wow.
And that's all I have to say about
Who'd
that.
have thought that one? Fuck. Tell me more.
So essentially, What Remains of Edith Finch is a interactive story that takes place at the Finch's household. And the Finch's household is this weird house that just had like rooms cobbled on together, and it's very Howl's Moving Castle-esque. And essentially, what's going on is I'm not. Do we care if we spoil it? Probably not.
No, it's quite
it's
old
an
at this point.
Yeah, it's a fairly
5
old
years
game.
old,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, 2017.
Came out in 2017.
Yeah.
Although it only released 2 years ago on the Switch, I think.
Yeah. 2019 for the Switch.
3 years ago then.
2022 for the Xbox Series X, S and X, which is what I played it on because it's on Game Pass, but it's left
Also
Game
what I
Pass.
played it on, actually.
But it's not on Game Pass anymore. So there's sorry, fellas.
Pretty cheap game though.
Is it a game? Let's leave that to the end.
Oh.
So essentially what it is you are going and exploring this house, and there's like a narration from Edith Finch, and it's sort of like Edith Finch telling a story of when she explored the house after she came back to it from running away, and you as a player character are listening to the words that Edith is telling you, and then sort of interacting with the world. And the world is like, so for example, one of the things that Edith says is, "Oh, Mum boarded up great grandma's room. I had to find another way around." So I was like, okay, I know I can't go through the door. I have to go outside and go through the wall, or go through a window or something. And it's a lot like that. And you're sort of piecing together this curse, and I mean curses, and it's just loosely bad luck. And
I
like,
mean, there's bad luck, and then there's consistent bad luck, which I would call a curse.
But it's not like a curse as in like, oh no, there are zombies you gotta fight off, or spirits you gotta like punch in the head. It's like a bad luck, and you're sort of finding out how a lot of the Finches as a clan, family group, something like that, how they sort of came about in their story. And I'll give it credit, when you're interacting with those stories, it does play like a mini game is a strong word, but there is it's a different section. So in the main sections, to get to the rooms, you are pretty much walking. There's no running. You don't walk fast. There's no climbing. You're walking. Very slow walking. Some might say it's a walking simulator. I am one of those people. But then you get to certain rooms and you can play like an interactive. It's more interactive. It's no longer a walking simulator. Like there's one section when you're essentially playing as a cat, like Stray, and you're pretty much just sort of going across like trees, and then you turn into an eagle and you got to catch mice. And then there's another another section when you're playing as a baby, and you're sort of like just playing with the water to do things, and then like you can pretty much tell the baby's drowning, but like because it's the baby sort of like imagining like it's a different world, the baby sort of goes like underwater, and it's sort of like this underwater world, but you as the player can sort of be like, isn't this pretty fucked up? Yeah, that part hit a bit. That part hits different. But it's the narrative is there. I'll give it that, and the way it tells the narrative is pretty good. Like the words that Edith say, like she'll only say like a sentence or two, and it will come up on like the walls or as part of a feature in the room you're in. So that looks really cool. But I don't know, like it always felt like I was just sort of like waiting for the next thing, and then you get to a next room, you'd find out the story or something, and the story would be incredibly short. And I was like, oh, okay, that's it. Like, so it'd take you out like 5 or 10 minutes because it's very slow to get somewhere. And then the story would be like 2 or 3 minutes. And it's like, oh, okay, is that it? Back to walking, I guess. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I am very glad I didn't pay for it. But then you pay with your time, your most valuable resource. So I guess that makes fools of us all.
It's a very short game.
It is very short. And I think that does it a favor. Not in a sense of, oh, I want this to be over. Yeah, in a sense of it doesn't overstay its welcome. Because if this game was like any longer, I'd be like, all right, I'm done. I reckon it's like probably like the perfect length. Any shorter would feel like that wasn't enough. Any longer, I was like, all right, get to the point. You wasted my life.
Right.
It's like only like 2.5, 3 hours, probably even less. There were a couple of times where I paused it to take a nap.
Yeah, I don't think it was longer than I played it in a single night by accident, like without realizing it was going to be the end of the game.
Yeah, you could.
That was like 4 or 5 hours, maybe total for me.
I think I probably because I knew, because before I start every game, I always go on howlongtobeat.com to sort of see how long the game is.
To see how long you have to 100% it.
I try not to look at the 100% ones, because some of it's like, okay, the main story 10 hours, 100% 45. I'm like, I'm not 100%ing it.
I don't want to play this anymore. Yeah,
yeah, I get
100% of this game. You could get this very not like in an easy way. 100%, one playthrough for sure.
Yeah, no, and you definitely could. Like it's you'd probably do one playthrough, be like, okay, that's cool, go back and do it again. Maybe it's one of those things that I probably should have played it in one go because I played it over like 3 or 4. Like I'd play for like half an hour, and be like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. And maybe that probably doesn't do it justice. But then at the same time, if you played it in one afternoon, I'd be like, oh, is that it?
Yeah, I finished it. I have half the achievements, and I have 3 hours of playtime.
I'm pretty sure I have all the achievements, but I think I spent maybe 5 hours or something.
Yeah, it's probably because you get the second playthrough to get the achievements. So you got one tab with the YouTube video to get it. But that's fine. If it's not a bad game, but it is not a traditional game. And maybe is this the time when we get philosophical about what a video game actually is?
No, because you keep trying to do that, and I'm so burnt by it at this point.
I think
Rats.
the game to me that I feel like maybe you didn't describe particularly well. Actually, funny enough, it's Annapurna, which is the guys that did Stray. So published this too. Very similar style of game.
Oh, those guys. Oh.
Yeah.
No, it isn't. It's
It's Giant Sparrow, published by Annapurna.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the Wikipedia page up now. Okay, interesting.
So the game. So to talk a little bit more about what the game actually is, other than just calling it a walking simulator, because it is pretty much a walking simulator. But basically, you're playing as a character, like you said, going through the house. But the house has this, I guess, sort of gamified concept of your whole story is that you're trying to find out how each one of your family members died. And whenever a family member died, they would lock up their room and leave it as like a state in time kind of thing. So your main character is basically going through, filling in these sort of like mini games and figure out what happened to some of the characters. And also outside of these mini games, going through the house and progressing and trying to figure out how to get into the next room, blah, 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 blah. So there's a little bit of a puzzle element to it. Nothing difficult, but it is there.
The puzzle element is very generous.
It is, but there
Like,
is
sometimes
that.
the
Like
puzzle
it's
is
not
like,
a
just have to go around the corner. Like it's
yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them are like somewhat interesting, but so the game by and large is defined by its like mini games basically. I don't remember how many family members there were exactly, but there was more than a regular family.
There's about like 8 or 9, but it includes like great.
Jesus Christ! Oh, okay. If it's including great grandparents and stuff, then yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But there was quite a few, and where the game really holds its strength to me is that as you go through the mini games, each one of them focus on obviously the certain ways that characters die, but they also swap up the music, they swap up the art style, they swap up the controls, they swap up everything that you would known to be this game. Which when I went back to look at it, the way that they developed the game was basically creating a whole bunch of mini games as like passion projects, and then creating like a science fiction story to go through and connect all these together. That's how the game came about. So, like to me, going through and like playing like the one that really sticks out in my mind, or actually the two. The baby one was very, very, very good. Like you said, it would just sort of hit hard.
Yeah, and you sort of like, okay, what's it doing with this? And it's like, oh, okay.
And you're like, oh no,
wait a minute.
Yeah. The one where you're playing is the guy that has like depression, and he's like cutting the fish, the heads off the fish while he's working, and he basically has like
he's getting
like schizophrenic daydreams sort of thing. Yeah, it goes into his own world.
He's hating the mundane of his life, so he gets his own world. That was fantastically done. That's my favorite part of the entire game, and it was very good how it sort of told the story through like a letter from the psychologist.
Yeah,
that was fantastic, and like. That is definitely the best part of the game.
It is by far the best part of the game.
The way it tells that story as well, it's like you start on a boat and then you're walking and then you're going up some stairs. Like that is a fantastic way, and that's probably one of the longer games, if that's the word you want to use. And I think that's the last one as well.
It is, yeah, it is the last one. I'm pretty sure. The other one that really sticks out to me just because of its art and music and the direction that they took for it. So the fish one that we were just talking about is like a top-down mini game where you're kind of like acting as a boat, and then you sail your way through waters and a story unfolds basically.
Well, on half the screen, on the other half of the screen, you're like cutting fish and like
you're like cutting fish to continue in the game, which is your actual job in the life as this character. the baby one you transform into the different animals and stuff, right? So, oh wait, no, that was Molly. Molly transforms into different animals. The baby one, you're like underwater and stuff. And
Yeah, you're
doing all
underwater. You're
sorts
like
of
sort of
different
like following and like bringing things together.
Yeah, so those ones were engaging because of the way they were told. The other one that really stuck out and sort of hit every sort of spot for me was the one where I don't remember what the character's name was because I played it a couple of years ago, but it was like the science fiction horror story one where they basically put it into like a comic book style, and they have
Barbara, I think, and she's
Barbara,
the famous the child actress, and she's famous for her scream.
yeah.
Then she gets older, and she's like, "No one, like, we don't care anymore. You've lost your scream," and it does play it as like a comic book. That
was
I reckon that
artistically
missed me.
very good.
Yes,
The
artistically very
story,
good.
not so much.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
I just think that like the overall story is quite good as well because there's a twist at the end. I'm not sure if you picked up on. I don't know if they make it deliberately known or not. Which it's an old game. We'll just spoil it. But basically, at the end of the game, you find out that you're not actually playing as Edith. You're playing as her son.
Yeah, good, because Edith died
because she
during
dies in
childbirth,
childbirth and sort of continues on the curse.
Yeah.
And
I
the
get
ending
it.
of
So you're what remains of Edith.
Exactly.
That's
That's when
the
you're
one
like,
we
what
got.
remains? And you're like,
You're
not
the
much. I'm
legacy.
like, oh, someone didn't fucking understand.
Yeah, no, it's I didn't know if we were actually going to state that, but no, that does complete the circle, and you're like, oh, that's what remains of Edith Finch.
Yeah. But the clashing art styles, clashing like music throughout the game, the gameplay elements that swap up at every opportunity is just what really kept me involved in it, and the overall themes of like mental illness mostly really, really hit hard. So I think it was an excellent game. I'd honestly give it a 10.
Yeah, I wouldn't give it a 10.
Patrick?
What if you could run, Steve? Would you give it more if you could run?
Unironically, probably yes. Like those the parts between the mini games, I guess, is what the word we're going for.
I cannot believe. Guys, hear me out. Steve, the little fucking high horse riding shit that he is, on this, the blessed day that is Steptember, shits on a game that prioritizes getting the steps in with the boys and goes, but if I could run, it would be more.
But yeah, exactly. You go twice as far in half the time, so you get twice as many steps.
I don't think
You
it
get
would matter
half
too
as
much
many
except the
steps,
start
actually.
of the game.
You get
But
half
the
as many
start of the
steps
game
in
was rough.
twice the time. That seems
You
less
go-
efficient.
No, but you go twice as long. I mean, you know what? It's called Steptember, not Walk-tember, not Run-tember.
Stephen, what do you do? What do you take when you're walking?
His time.
My phone,
Damn,
keys.
I walked into that one.
Sometimes close.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, not when you ran out on the street today.
No. Happy birthday, Sue. But yeah, no, I'd give it an 8. Look, I don't want to sort of spend too much time drawing on this game.
No. I want Patrick's score though.
So this sounds really dumb. This was the second. So I played this and I played Gone Home. I don't remember which order, but they were in fairly quick succession. And
Walking simulators, my dude.
yeah, well, that's the thing is that Gone Home. Someone told me you should play Gone Home. You would really enjoy it. And I had been on, I don't think it was a horror game streak, but I assumed that, I think I've told this story on the podcast before, but I assumed that because the start of Gone Home is like, it's thunderstorming down, you need to get into the house, all that stuff. I assumed it was a horror game for the first hour.
I think you did say this one, actually.
all of the environment led me to believe that it was a horror game. I don't remember if I played What Remains of Edith Finch before or after that, but for the first, maybe not hour for What Remains of Edith Finch, just because it's such a short game, but for the first couple of rooms that I passed through, I just, my fucking dumbass, like while at uni dealing with like uni papers and stuff, didn't have the mental capacity to realize that the rooms that I was in was kind of exploring their deaths. And it was only, I don't remember whose it was, but it was, I remember Walter in the bunker, but I don't remember if there was someone else before then, where they made it explicitly clear that they died. And I was like, oh, does this mean? And then connected that that's what had been happening with everyone else's
Oh my God,
rooms.
that's like halfway through the game too.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So So I guess what I'm saying is I didn't experience it quote unquote properly just because I wasn't in the right state of mind to understand what the game was trying to do. But even in that state, I still enjoyed what I played, and I still, even now, like I remember Walter in the bunker. I remember the twist at the end. I remember going through the little like crawl spaces and hidey holes and stuff that was built in for the kids. I think. I hope that's true. Maybe this is a different game than I'm thinking of, but I remember enough of what is otherwise a very short 3-hour blip and you miss it game that it had to have been impactful on me in some way. So yeah, I guess just on the back of me remembering bits of it like I do and the fondness that I have for what I remember playing of it, yeah, probably 8.5 for what it was trying to do. Does it have problems? Sure, but I'm also not really sure how to judge a walking simulator because it's not really the sort of game that I play.
Yeah,
but yeah, 8 to 8.5, I'd say from my end.
The probable thing that might either activate the almond or get you really riled up about this game is what you expect going into it. Like if you have literally no clue what you're coming into, which would be very hard to after listening to my thoughts in this podcast.
I didn't know what I was going into, which probably helped, honestly.
Yeah, that's because I definitely knew it was a walking simulator. I didn't know exactly. I thought it was going to be more towards the Gone Home type of. I'm just interacting with the world, reading things, etc. I didn't think it'd be mini game things, and that's probably why I clicked with those much more than I did the rest of the world.
Well, that's the thing is that on the same breath, I almost enjoyed the hour and a bit that I spent first going through Gone Home, treating it like a horror game. Because once the mystery was lifted, and then I realized it was a walking simulator, because I went into both of these not knowing anything about them. I just got told you should play them, you'd enjoy them. That was it. That was all I got. And so, me playing Gone Home for what it was fine, but it was fairly forgettable because the themes didn't resonate with me that much. But I remember a lot more of What Remains of Edith Finch, and I think that has to be for some reason. So I think between the two of them, What Remains of Edith Finch is stronger, for me personally, at least.
Yeah, and it's definitely got, in my opinion anyway, it's got What Remains of Edith Finch has a much better narrative, and the way it tells that narrative as well, it's much more cohesive, and it is linear. That's like you can't jump around.
No.
But that's fine. I don't really care about that. Choice is an illusion anyway. But yeah, What Remains of Edith Finch, 8 out of 10. I'd recommend if people are interested, I would recommend not paying more than $10 for it, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth more than $10 to $15 for the most part, just because of the
15
length.
would have been the high end of my price point, but that's also New Zealand dollars, so
yeah, about 10
convert that to what you will.
It's about 10 Australian cents.
Well, I'm assuming that's like 13 kangaroos and a.
Shit. I think it's about 4 hours with a sheep.
Kangaroos are pretty expensive, man. They're pretty valuable.
So you get 4 hours with a sheep, or you get 4 hours with What Remains of Edith Finch at the same price.
The last thing I want to touch on quickly is that I played this the same night as I played a game called Fractured Minds, which was another very cheap, like $3 indie game where you basically walk focused around mental illness and going through that. So if you do enjoy that, or you've played Fractured Minds, I highly recommend picking up that one too. It also hits extremely hard and is very good, both of these being indie games as well. Both won a huge amount of awards for story as well.
Right.
Neat. Also, just as a quick shout out as well, once again, the heroes of Wikipedia. The Wikipedia page for What Remains of Edith Finch is literally like probably has more words than the story of Edith Finch, to be honest.
Probably.
Yeah, there's a lot of words there. But yeah, no, it was good.
Cool. Right. I guess with that, we conclude Round the Lunch for this week. Thank you to everyone for the old sharing of stories, swapping of tales, stepping of Steptember, if you will, which of course means we get to move on to part 2 for this week, which is of course the news. And starting off, it's not even a link, but Saif really hurriedly just handed me a sticky note that says, please let me talk about Zero. Wait, shit, that was episode 1. Saif,
and that was Josh.
I know what I said. Saif, what is it that you so desperately need to tell everyone?
Yeah, so tomorrow, as of recording day, Netflix is going to be dropping the second batch of Stone Ocean episodes on, Netflix. So I think it's episodes 13 through 26 are going to be dropped, or 14 through 26.
So Seth didn't say is he's talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5.
Part 6.
Part 6, that's right.
Part
It is
6,
Part 6.
yeah.
Part 5 is
Golden Wind.
Golden Wind, Bento Oreo.
Yes. Netflix is
Every
not
day I'm
advertising.
surrounded by weebs.
Netflix is not advertising this at all. It's
Good
just
enough,
kind
eh?
of shadow dropping, and people just figuring it out by going on Netflix and seeing the posters for it. But there's been no official statements. There's been no trailers. Nothing. It's just shadow dropping on Netflix tomorrow. So I just wanted to take a moment in the podcast to say fuck Netflix for not advertising this, and everyone go watch JoJo.
It's not all the episodes.
It's not. It's still just another small batch.
You can wait until it's all done and then pirate it.
Right.
Yar.
And for those of us who are into that weeb shit, konnichiwa.
I can't believe you take my fucking excellent fucking like thing that I just did, and then you ruin it with the most basic fucking Japanese word. Fuck
That
you.
was funny, right?
Indeed.
I'll put that
Anyway,
in the
next up on
same
the list.
Now get fucked. Sorry, you continue.
It sounds like you're the one that got fucked.
Apparently.
I was gonna try it again with the. I didn't even do it often enough, but it's the one that one of you always drops. It's the arigato gozaimasu, thank you very much, or something.
Arigato
Anyway.
gozaimasu.
No, but like
It's
shitty
Jake.
bastardization
Yeah,
of it. Oh, okay, it makes sense.
he
It's
just,
Jake.
I can't remember exactly what he says, but
That's
he
the
just
thing. I don't
bastardizes
remember it
it.
either, but-
Gozaimasu. I think is the one
No,
he says.
he does half English, half Japanese. So he'll go like, he goes, what does he say? Ariga, thank you, gozai so sorry, or something like that. I don't know. He's fucking monster, that human.
He's made it his job to butcher it.
Oh, he
basically.
really has. It's
And then he
it's
tells
dead
us
on
he's
arrival.
Japanese over and over again, despite he's not fucking Japanese.
I cannot wait for his DNA test results to come back.
We'll get him on the podcast so we can bully him. Anyway, let's go.
Speaking of things that may or may not be related to 40 Thieves, we had a leak of what? Could be the. Fuck, I don't know, man. I'm just the news guy, all right? Just leave me alone.
So you're the host.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
All right.
Does anyone else want to take over his job?
No,
You're not busy editing the podcast.
I'm busy editing the spoiler cast.
What spoiler cast?
We lost the footage.
You mean audio?
Yeah,
that's
same.
footage.
It was a recording of my reaction.
Well, speaking of spoilers, I'm trying to fucking segue. We have a reported leak of Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is going to be the upcoming Assassin's Creed entry. And we know that it has to be legit because it seems that the images that were attached to the leak post have been taken down.
Yep, and one of them was apparently going to be DLC for the game.
Interesting. DLC for a game that's not even out yet. Fuck, that does not sit right.
It happens
Fantasy
all the
15 would like to
time.
talk.
They
I know,
always
and
talk
it-
about season passes and day
And
one DLCs.
And it is literally,
It's the worst.
I hate video games so much, especially because of that.
Could you imagine if What Remains of Edith Finch started with like a family of 3 and then the remaining 6 were all DLC?
Oh, I've had an aneurysm. But, so there's this game called Tiny Tita's Wonderlands, right?
No, I'm having the aneurysm.
Imagine paying $125 for a game and being told you have to spend another 30 day one to get the rest of the
Okay.
content.
Imagine paying $500 for a Harry Potter game and you're not even getting all the content because you didn't buy it on the right console. Get fucked.
Oh,
That's later.
I completely forgot to put that on the news docket. Yeah,
We can talk about it now. Get fucked. Fuck you, J.K. Rowling. Fuck you, Warner Brothers.
They do that all the time, but
$500? No, they don't.
So- no,
$500 fucking.
A side note to this article, because we're talking about DLC, apparently the Harry Potter game is going to have PlayStation exclusive missions.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
at least a mission. And so if you spend $500, you will not get all the content, which is
you're not
fucking
playing it on
outrageous.
Yeah.
If you're not playing it on PlayStation,
They-
yeah. I mean,
they
they'll
did
add
the same-
DLC to it anyway, but it's still fucking outrageous.
If you think about it, some of the $500 special editions don't even come with the game. So in that sense, you're not playing. You don't get all
Look
the
at you,
content for
God of
$500
War.
Yeah,
either.
but you know what? At least, a cut of my money won't be going to like anti-trans and anti-Semitic fucking things like what Rowling will do. So you know what?
Man, can I take a moment to shit on J.K. Rowling for a second?
There's always time to shit on J.K. Rowling.
She's put out a new book recently that's just her trying to cope over being bullied on Twitter.
which is like the main character like literally gets murdered for having like anti like trans views or some bullshit. And it's like the second book she's released for this as well.
A few years back. This one is like just recent, and it's about a main character getting bullied on Twitter, and like a lot of the pages are just made up of fake tweets.
It's fucking stupid.
God, talk about needing to touch grass.
Yeah.
You literally think with the amount of money she's got, she'd literally be like, I don't care what the plebs think, I'm just going to do my money thing. But
you could like literally do anything else in the world. Like you could go skydiving one day and like learn to do drifting the next or whatever. Like you could spend your life doing interesting things that no one else will ever get to do. But instead you're going to bitch online. Like,
she's being a 40-year-old UK woman.
She's more than 40 and she's white, so I guess it makes sense.
Is she more than 40? Yeah. Anyway,
she's
so the original story, Patrick, before we derailed you.
This is a huge monkey's paw moment for me because I remember like last week or the week before, it was when we were talking about like game reboots and stuff. I mentioned wanting something similar to Prince of Persia or Prince of Persia to come back because I want more pieces of media based on the Arabian Nights stories. And lo and behold, here comes a new shitty Assassin's Creed game based on the Arabian Nights.
J.K. Rowling's 57 as well.
Yep, she was born in 65. I just looked it up as well.
I am looking.
She's worth $1 billion and she sits on there complaining about people wanting to live their life. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Just, like,
I love
arguing with people on Twitter. Man, I don't understand.
I'm just going to spell out the action replay of what just happened. Steve said, to answer your initial question, Patrick, Saif jumped in with talking about how he really wants Arabian Nights. And then we just dropped J.K. Rowling's 57 worth $1 billion. Fuck her.
Also, they're doing like a Harry Potter like 20th anniversary thing or something, and she wasn't invited. She basically went, I didn't want to go anyway. Just hilarious to me.
Yeah, it's strange. Anyway.
I can't believe that Ubisoft is trying to get us to not talk about the Prince of Persia Assassin's Creed crossover by getting us to shit on J.K. Rowling instead.
Look,
that's
they want to
big,
sponsor
bro.
us to shit on J.K. Rowling. I'm all in.
I can only shit on Ubisoft for so long.
Oh, no,
J.K.
no.
Rowling, that's
for a long
fresh.
time too.
Are you right there, big fella? That's half the podcast, isn't it? Them EA games. Did I have... Anyway, sorry.
I'm pretty sure we did shit on EA the other when they did that tweet about single player games.
Oh,
God, that was horrible.
Anyway, the original tweet that is news now. Patrick, take it away.
Okay. Take them away, toys.
Bake them away, toys.
What the boy said.
I can't really segue that nicely. Anyway, there's a new Mafia game. It's in development. It's still a few years away.
Wait, did you skip over the other Ubisoft news?
What's there? I mean, we talked about J.K. Rowling. What else do you want?
Was there other Ubisoft news?
The
decommissioning of the old games.
You skipped the Assassin's Creed news as well.
Yeah, this is part 2 to Assassin's Creed news.
This is a good thing, though. It's weird that Ubisoft's doing a good thing. Although it sounds like their devs are basically just going, fuck you, I'll do what I want. And Ubisoft is being like, all right, I guess we'll comply.
Yeah, so
How
a
did
few
these
weeks...
get so out of order? What the hell? I had these tabs. Oh, maybe I closed that one.
You want to go through it, Seth? Or?
Yeah, well, while Patrick gets it back up. So a few weeks back...
yeah, while Patrick's having his moment.
A few weeks back, we talked about how Ubisoft was decommissioning a bunch of their games and DLCs and making them unavailable to play even if you owned them. So people had just bought Assassin's Creed games on Steam because they were on sale. And then Ubisoft immediately turned around and go, we're going to take away your right to play those in like a month. And people got really mad at them. Rightfully so. It's a really shitty thing to do. Really bad move. They've turned around and said they're going to reverse their decision on that and not take down the games and DLCs now.
They also clarified a little while ago when they announced it that you will still be able to play those games. You just can't do the online components. One thing I did like about this article was that NO 2070, which is a good game if anyone hasn't played it, they basically went, oh, okay, we're going to rebuild the way it works so that you can play it offline. Oh, by the way, we've also ported it to 64-bit, so it's running better than ever, but it'll shut down next month. Which is like the devs going over and above and Ubisoft being like, we're still shutting it down. Which is a shame, but good on the devs. Out of them. Good job.
Yeah, it's I would very much like to see the numbers on like who is still playing this, because I have other thoughts. Like,
I mean, some of those games aren't old. I mean, Anno 2070. I have friends that were playing last week.
That came out.
and it's
That
not
came out in 2070.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait
Yeah.
a minute.
There was 2 games that came out like a couple of years back, like 2 or 3 years back, that were affected by this. I don't remember what games it was.
Zombie U.
Oh, no one's playing that.
Anno 2070 all-time peak in the past 24 hours was 130 players.
On Steam alone, yeah.
Yeah, on Steam.
Yeah.
But that was 2011. There was.
Realistically, I'd be interested to see the
No, they're all older
Like
games.
the-
I thought Liberation HD came out more recently than that, but I forgot that we're growing older by the day. Space Junkies 2019. That was the one that I was thinking about. But no one played that anyway.
But I'd be really interested in seeing like the cost to keep these things up versus how many people are actually playing it. But that's just probably from a weird business point of view.
You know what? If they did their infrastructure right, they wouldn't be that big of a cost.
And to be fair, maybe you shouldn't need to go online to play a game that you own. That's
I agree.
it. Physical media, baby. Anyway.
Now we can go to that other article.
I really tried speaking of, but there just wasn't anything. Anyway, as I said about 5 minutes ago, there's a new Mafia game in development.
Mafia is a pretty good series. I've heard great things about them. Excited to see what happens when it eventually comes, because it's, in quotes, a few years away.
I have played the first one, I believe. And it's alright.
I believe they're on the PlayStation Plus stuff at the moment, but I think they're PS3 games, so we can't play them. I know Trinity has been playing some of them recently. Actually, was there a PS4 remaster of one of these? Maybe.
No, Mafia 3 came out a couple of years back, and it was like trashed. It was trying to be like a GTA clone, but it never really.
Yeah, no, the Mafia Definitive Edition is on PS4, and it's it is also included with PlayStation Plus Deluxe.
Interesting.
Cool. I am asleep. Maybe I am awake later on. Who knows? Anyway, next up on the list we have Square Enix announcing
Voice of Cards, baby.
Yeah, do you want to take this one, Josh? You're probably the biggest Voice of Cards proponent.
I'm the only one that's played it so far, haven't I?
Yeah, I've been meaning to get to them. I just haven't yet.
Too many games.
Yeah, well, another Voice of Cards game. I absolutely love them. I spoke about them at length on the podcast. Go back and listen to those episodes if you really want to find out about it. But
comment below which episode that was, because none of us remember.
We talked about this leaking last week. This is just to confirm it's real and it's got a release date now.
Yeah,
did we talk about it last week? Comment below.
But no, I'm keen for this. All those games are excellent. The voice acting is always good. The music is always absolutely phenomenal, and the story is engaging enough to get through it. So I'm keen.
And they're pretty short games as well. But yeah, coming to Switch,
Yeah, they
PS4,
are,
and
like
Steam
10
on
hours.
September 13.
Does it have voice acting?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
damn it,
They're
yeah.
like
Yes
20
and
steps.
no.
They're 20
It's like
steps
a
ahead.
DM voice acting.
It's still 20 steps ahead of Pokemon.
Yeah,
And that's the benchmark with which I live by.
it's a low benchmark, bro.
Yeah, well, speaking of low benchmark, I didn't have high hopes for reading any Sucker Punch tweet after announcing they weren't going to continue work on any Infamous or Sly Cooper IP. And I'm still sad because they put out a tweet talking about the Sly collection coming to PlayStation Plus, but only the PS3 stuff, I think.
Yeah, it's all the PS3 versions of the games, which means they're only going to be available in America and Canada and a select few other regions. So we're not going to get it at all, which is a really, really upsetting thing.
Do we have the PlayStation monthly games in here? It doesn't look like it. So let's
But yeah, we can quickly go over those. They've also announced that let me scroll up.
It was
Need for Speed Heat, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, and Tome.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that one either. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus should be good though.
Yeah, that would be good. I've heard Need for Speed Heat is okay.
It's just okay.
Yeah,
it's not even. Yeah, it's just okay. But they also announced a whole bunch of stuff for the game catalog. So Deathloop. So I'm actually going to give that a go now that I don't have to pay $100 and something for it. Watch Dogs 2, Assassin's Creed Origins, Xenoverse 2, which is an excellent game, some motorbike game, and there was another one. Oh, Spiritfarer got added, which is Steven liked.
Yes, I did. I love Spiritfarer. I genuinely think Spiritfarer, everybody should go fucking play that game.
Alex the
Pay
Kid
money
is
for it.
also in there, and Rabbids Invasion, which everyone loves Rabbids. Oh, Rayman Legends is also added, which is dope. Rayman Legends is an excellent game.
Very good
Oh,
game.
and the Scott Pilgrim game was also added.
Yeah.
Also fantastic. I love that
Yeah.
game.
Yeah,
maybe.
also fantastic. And Toy Story 3 for PSP. Cool. Anyway, moving on.
Right. Next up on the list, we have Gungrave Gore. Do we know about this?
I think
This looks
I
completely
think we've
new
talked
to
about
me.
this a little bit when it was last shown off last year, basically. Like, I think this was something we talked about when we first started doing the podcast. It's an action game that looks really interesting to me. It's I think this is the first time it's come back since the PS2 era. And yeah, it's just been delayed a little bit to November 22. It was supposed to come out a little bit sooner.
Oh no, I hear everyone cry in unison.
No, a little bit of extra time is always appreciated because it helps clean things up.
Yep.
And yeah, extremely excited about this. Main selling point for some people might be that you have a giant coffin attached to your back that's also a gun.
I thought the main selling point was the trailer starting with an anime girl beating people up.
I mean, that can also be a main selling point if you want it to be.
It's the only selling point. This game just looks like Devil May Cry Light.
It basically is.
Yeah.
Damn, it's going to be a shit game then.
Yeah.
You are completely wrong. Action games are
Anyway.
the peak of gaming content.
Moving on. Speaking of shit games, Cyberpunk 2077, which has no bearing on the next story except that it sounds kind of like the game we are going to talk about, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, delayed to summer 2023.
An excellent game name. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Bamboozled you all.
I am literally, I'm crying, boys.
So am
Jet
I.
Set Radio, bros. Ooh. Actually,
Wait.
speaking of,
When is
Speaking of-
Xbox going to add Jet Set Radio Future to back compat?
Never. They're
Yeah.
done with back compat now.
I know.
no,
I
it's
want
coming
to
any day
know.
now.
They're quote unquote done with back compat now.
It's coming out any day now. Speaking of though, I'm playing Yakuza 5 Remastered at the moment, and they've got a Hideki
Whoa, hold on.
Naguma
I'm
song.
sorry. Was this round the lounge? Do we go back in time 90 minutes?
It's
so-
it's tangentially related.
Yeah, it is tangentially. If you'll just relax for a second, Pat, just relax. We have a tangent to go on here.
I will unclench my ass when I feel like it. Thank you.
Keep it clenched, big fella.
That's such a Ron Swanson thing to say.
But
So-
yeah, I was in one of the convenience stores in Yakuza 5. They're playing one of the songs from Jet Set Radio Future that Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is inspired from.
I
Nice.
believe
And
that
has-
Hideki Naganuma is also going to be on Bomb Rush Cyberpunk's
He
soundtrack.
He's the lead composer, I believe. Maybe composer.
God, what a good get! One of the
God.
one of the best Sonic soundtracks was Sonic Rush on the DS because it was a soundtrack he did.
God, I love Sonic Rush so much. It's no Sonic Riders, but it's close second.
God, I can't believe the baseness of these tastes.
Thoughts, Josh?
You don't want my thoughts.
They're no Sonic heroes, but they do.
Oh, mwah, mwah. How does he do it? What a
The
great
only Sonic
game.
games I really liked were literally Sonic 1 and Sonic Mania.
Haven't played those.
You haven't
It-
played
it-
you haven't played the two best Sonic games.
Imagine calling
That's not
Sonic 1
Sonic
one of the
06.
best Sonic games when Sonic 2 and 3 are right there.
I haven't had a chance to play those, but Sonic 1 was really good.
I don't know. Sonic and the Black
Sonic
Knight, I'm
1
telling you.
immediately goes downhill after Green Hill Zone.
Yeah, but you know, it peaked, so it was like peak gaming experience back
Well,
then.
what-
It was like the game to play.
Well, when Sonic Frontiers comes out,
I will have words. There is footage. I have words. I will not share them until I play it myself.
And then we'll be violent.
I don't know. Maybe I'll turn around for the better on that game.
No, you won't.
No, I
No, you
won't.
Yeah. Alright, where's your segue, Patrick?
he's probably left it parking and on charge. They're pretty
Yeah.
dangerous.
I don't have so many of these are just so disjointed. I'm so
They
off my
are.
game. I'm so off my game today. I'm so sorry, everyone. This normally never happens to a lot of guys. All right, I swear.
No, it doesn't.
No,
Would you like to make a segue then?
something sponsor Blue Chew.
see, not easy, is it, Steve?
Oh no! Did you actually want me to do something?
Well, not now.
We're about 5 seconds in, so it's now Kickstarter hour, which means
Oh God.
This story comes from Kickstarter.
Now
That
he's
was
playing.
actually a good one too.
Now he's playing in the worst traffic,
Sorry.
Kickstarter traffic.
I really like to kick
He's
someone
going to
when
buy
they're down.
revolutionary headphones for $4.50.
Igniting the
There's a
Spark,
Kickstarter
the story of Magic the
on the
Gathering, eh?
homepage called Witchstarter. I just want to let that sink in, and we can just move on.
Okay, no,
Anyway.
sorry. Tell your story, Pat.
Next up on the list, oh my god, I see what you did. Yeah, Kickstarter. The
Yeah,
Wild
it-
Arms and Shadow Hearts creators announce a double Kickstarter for the spiritual successors. I don't know any of these. Fantasia and Pennyblood.
No,
Should these mean
these are
something?
the new games. They're
Okay. This is
the Seth moment.
they're spiritual successors to Wild Arms and Shadow Hearts.
See, you could have swapped those. I've never heard of any of these.
Yeah.
No, me either.
Wild Arms was it's a
Wait. Wild Arms. That was the hype, the one with Elastigirl in it.
What?
you lost me.
Wait, you're
Arms.
talking about the Nintendo game? You're talking
Yeah.
about Arms.
Yeah, isn't
It's not
Wild Arms?
It's just
No.
Arms.
Wild Arms.
But isn't
Wild Arms
Wild
was
Arms the
a
sequel?
no. Wild Arms was a PS1 JRPG that was heavily inspired by like I guess Trigun a little bit. It's a bit
With
of
Min Min.
It's a little bit of sci-fi and a little bit of Wild West combined together. And Shadow Hearts, I don't know a whole lot about. I think it was a PS2 game. This is the first time I've seen two games share a Kickstarter page together.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Cool. That's good for them. But
Steve, what did you find?
I'm absolutely fucking baffled that somebody would have this idea, let alone fucking put it out to the general public to.
Oh god! Please, okay. Wait. There is a product that tried to. I think it might have even been funded on Kickstarter, which will automatically dispense the correct amount of salt via a button on an app on your smart device after you
I've
provided
seen that.
health information. Is this dumber or smarter than that?
It's smarter if you could try and get. I'm just gonna skip right over it because I'm just getting flustered. It's a picture of. Sorry, hang on. I'm just so fucking flustered. So we all know the Oscar
Happens
Wilde
to a lot of
book.
guys.
We all know the book by Oscar Wilde, The Picture of Dorian Gray, right?
No.
No.
Oh,
Okay, I'm glad someone else said that because I didn't want to seem like the weird
I
one
read
by
a lot of
saying
books
no.
too, and that, I know Oscar Wilde, but I don't know the book. No.
well, Picture of Dorian Gray, and someone wants to
Is it a
sell
book or a
chocolate-
picture? Come on.
No. So the book is called The Picture of Dorian Gray, you piece of shit. But
So what do you do in those 12 minutes, though?
so it's a chocolate bar. It's a chocolate bar. It's The Picture of Dorian Gray chocolate bar. Look, you didn't get it. Look, no one's as civilized.
Why
as
is
me.
it? To explain to me why the. Oh my god, this SCP Foundation books is 7,600% funded. What the fuck?
Yeah, I keep seeing ads for those.
That actually looks kind of cool. Sorry, Steven. Why does the chocolate bar matter?
It doesn't. I haven't read the book either. I thought one of you guys would have.
Oh, what the
This tangent was
We all
entirely
know the
worthless.
book. None of us know the book, including the one bringing it up.
Sorry, I thought one of you guys would have, and no one did, and I'm like, oh. Look, I'm going to close the Kickstarter tab.
Honestly, these SCP books look fucking fantastic. But anyway, let's move on.
Right. Next up on the list, Tencent and Sony Interactive Entertainment collectively acquiring 30.34% of From Software. Are we yay or are we nay?
Absolutely
this.
nay.
I could have given them at least 20 cents for them.
Bruh.
Bro, they could. I know a rapper they could have hit up.
I am yay for this if it means that we get Bloodborne port.
There is
There
one
is
good
no
thing out of this,
Bloodborne
and it's
port.
that
You are
From
literally
Software is using this to
schizophrenic,
publish
Seth.
their own
There is
games.
no Bloodborne port. It will not exist.
Bloodborne 60 FPS patch.
Is it in the room with us now?
Yes. In my head.
Bro, I have
In
some.
my
I have some
heart.
chocolate. I have some chocolate that tastes exactly like a picture of Dorian Gray.
I didn't get it.
Try that. It might be more realistic for you.
I haven't
Right.
seen it.
So, anyway, the one good thing out of this is that From Software wants to do their own game publishing.
Sorry,
And-
it's from what software?
I fucking hate you so much. My God, why do I
See,
try?
The worst part is that Steve rips the joke, doesn't even wait for a response, and just loses his mind.
If he doesn't laugh at his own jokes,
So
who
proud of
will?
himself.
You know
I
what?
thought it was really funny.
All I have to say, Katakawa good, Tencent bad. Move on. I'm done. That's it. I'm out. See you guys.
Yeah, Katakawa still owns the majority of From Software, even after Sony and Tencent's increase in revenue in them, because they both had shares in From Software before. They just increased how much they had in them.
Katakawa also make extremely good anime. So
Katakawa has their fingers in a lot of pies.
Name
they
9.
do. They did Cowboy Bebop, by the way.
The
Code
live
Geass.
action one. No, thank you.
No. They did the original anime, and Hack as well.
I'm pretty sure they also owned as No More Heroes games.
Ooh.
I think they do. Yes.
They
They also did Lollipop Chainsaw.
Haven't played it.
Josh, we
Yeah,
need to
I'm done.
ask, have you played Lollipop Chainsaw?
Not yet. I will when the remake comes out,
There
though.
we go. Same shit. We all know that game Lollipop Chainsaw Massacre, right?
It's not Chainsaw Massacre. What the hell?
Adding words to the game. For the record, I platinumed that game. It was very good.
No, Platinum didn't publish it. Katakawa did.
No. I got all the
That was
trophies,
funny.
which means I platinumed it. Not it got done by Platinum.
From whose software?
So anyway, PS5s are going up in price.
20 cents.
Hope you all bought one now.
God, I hate this so much.
Look, I'll be
Okay,
honest
that's
with you,
fine.
fellas.
I guess we'll
This
just
didn't do well for my Sony stock. I'm still down.
jump across a few tabs. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Just
Yeah, sorry,
Just
I think I
breathe.
skip one news
Just-
article.
Yeah, no,
just breathe, Patrick.
we're still
It's
in.
fine.
We're still Patrick. To help you out, we're still in the part where we're talking about everyone being bought out by other people.
are we not talking about PS5 price increases anymore in terms of being bought out by consumers?
We'll
that
get
was
to
bought
that.
out by
We'll get to
capitalism.
that at the end. We need to talk about Quantic Dream being bought by NetEase.
Probably was an easy transaction.
You know
So-
what? After the way that that David Cage ran out of a courtroom crying like a bitch, I wouldn't be surprised if it was an easy transaction.
Ethan.
No, he wasn't yelling that. He was yelling, "You're ruining my video games."
I know. But,
And-
I mean, does
and
he understand that his video games are bad to start with?
Also screaming at the top of his lungs, "We do not make games for F slurs."
Okay, you're gonna have to give me
Well-
some context. I don't think I know what's going on.
He is French. He is homophobic, and his studio got went through a lot of court cases about sexual misconduct in the workspace.
He is a horrible human, and he makes
And
bad
one of the-
games on top of that.
And one of the people in the court that partially owns the company said, "Am I allowed to lie in court?" while in the witness booth.
After literally
Jesus.
swearing on a fucking book that he will not lie and commit perjury. Which is wild to me. Sorry, I didn't
So-
understand the question. Can I lie?
I hope NetEase is happy with this purchase.
I mean, it must have been cheap.
Probably get
Right.
the net.
I don't know what else to like this. There is so much going on right now. I don't know what more to add to NetEase bought Quantic. Yay or nay? Pick one. Let us know. Fucking I don't know.
I guess you can say we're being quite savage.
Speaking of shitty segues, Sony
Did it on
Interactive
purpose.
Entertainment. Sony Interactive Entertainment is set to acquire Savage Game Studios as part of their new PlayStation Studios. Well, maybe not new, but as part of their mobile division, which they stipulate. They tried to make sure that they didn't accidentally do themselves an EA and talk about how they wanted to expand mobile gaming because single player games suck.
Imagine if they just got Naughty Dog to make them like a mobile game instead of like going out and buying other studios to do it. Like, imagine the waste of resources to do that.
I don't even know who Savage Game Studios are, is the thing. What did they make?
Don't know.
I don't even. I feel like they're
But yeah,
just.
this game studio name came out of nowhere for me.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they make mobile games, so I don't care.
And every PlayStation account in unison goes, "Welcome to the family, Savage."
Yeah, I have no clue. Like, it's obviously some sort of weird game. Well, sorry.
I don't think they've even made anything yet. I don't see anything on their website for any games.
No, me either, but maybe they just.
No,
Maybe they
they've
don't
got-
advertise because they make mobile games and it's nothing to be proud of.
I don't know. They've got an office in Helsinki and an office in Berlin. Man, they're really right in CBD Berlin. I pretty sure probably have walked past. And so same with Helsinki. I probably walked both their offices.
Apparently, they worked on a James Bond game in 2002, He-Man Defender of Grayskull in 2005, Battlefront 2 on PSP, Scooby-Doo Who's Watching Who in 2006, Medal of Honor Vanguard on PS2, which is a pretty okay game, Transformers the game on PSP, Wily on PSP, Rock Revolution on PlayStation 3, Transformers, and Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Huh.
That's it. That's all they've done. And none of those games are beyond 2009. So they've obviously done just mobile games since then, and that's it.
I think you've listed off the wrong company's names.
Wait, actually, this is Savage Entertainment.
Yes.
You're
you listed
right.
off an entirely different studio's games.
So I have no idea who these people are then. It didn't even show up on Wikipedia.
Yeah, Savage Entertainment was a California studio that closed down in 2011.
Yeah, well, there you go. So I have no idea who these people are.
Well, whoever they are, here's to you, Candy Crush Sony Edition.
Oh, God.
I like that. Now we rewind 5
Microsoft...
minutes to go back to the PlayStation price increase.
No, I want to mention this quickly. This is clearly a reaction from Xbox being like, we're buying Blizzard so that we get King, which is obviously their mobile games for the most part. Like, how is buying a game studio that doesn't have any games it's supposed to help? I don't understand.
I don't think it's a reaction to that.
I think it is, because they're complaining up and down all over the place saying that they don't want this. The only reason Microsoft's buying Activision is because they want King, because that's the moneymaker.
That's
what
the money maker, baby.
But PlayStation doesn't want them to go over because they don't want to lose Activision.
That's what they're saying, but in reality, they're like, Microsoft has too big a piece of pie. We need something to compete. We need something to make money so we can continue throwing money around. And this is their solution.
I mean, hey, that lawsuit for $6 billion isn't going to try to increase itself.
That's why the PlayStation's going up.
True. Where we have confirmed word that the price of PlayStation 5 consoles will be increasing in select markets. And it's funny, because they list select markets including Europe, United States, they don't include the United States. It's including Europe, United Kingdom, Japan, China, Australia, Mexico, and Canada. And so
literally
it's funny,
every market except the US.
Exactly. So they say including, but they don't include. They don't say the US and they don't say New Zealand. So get fucked.
I don't think it was Australia specifically. I thought it was Australia. What do they call it? Australasia, where New Zealand's included, but maybe not.
Well, the thing is, they say select markets including, right? So like it could be all of them. Because they've only included some of them.
They specify there will be no price increase in the United States, and they never mention any other markets not being hit. I just want to quote this blog post a little bit. The global economic environment is a challenge that many of you around the world are no doubt experiencing. We're seeing high global inflation rates as well as adverse currency trends impacting consumers and creating pressure on many industries. Based on these challenging economic conditions, SIE has made a difficult decision to increase the recommended retail price of the PlayStation 5. Get fucked, Jim Ryan. You start off the article by saying inflation. We know there's inflation going on. We know that everyone's being negatively impacted by the market around the world. But we're going to make it harder for you to get a PlayStation 5.
I don't know. It sounded like he was talking to me directly, just person to person. I think he's a man of the people. I think we should hear him out.
Ryan. No.
Jim, fuck old games, Ryan.
Yeah, Jim Ryan is a curse. He's the reason why Sony is so backwards.
I reckon.
I cannot wait till they kick him out.
Yeah,
he literally opened that statement talking about how he understands that times are tough. He's gets
rich.
it.
He doesn't understand it.
I reckon it's because just before he wrote that you don't believe me, Google Jim Ryan Rule 34.
Do not.
That's what he wanted. That's what he wanted to write. Then he got silenced. Free speech is dead.
Xbox just looking better and better, my dudes.
I'm telling you.
The increase has been so negatively received that loud people in Japan are going, Final Fantasy 16 is going to flop because no one can buy a PS5 now. People
already have bought PS5s for the last 2 years, though. There's still a lot of people that don't have them that would like them, and they will now have to pay more. But, it's not going to stop people buying them at the end of the day, is the thing.
It is so stupid to me.
It is just weird that we have now turned PS5 into a like 1 or 2 year running pre-order bonus, where if you have one up until this point, it was cheaper than buying one from now.
Yeah.
Imagine you bought it off a scalper and you're still paying cheaper than what it would be to buy it. Imagine some scalpers like, oh shit, like
The scalpers are going to increase their prices now.
Yeah.
Scalpers looking at Sony and going, "Fuck, are we the good guys?"
ugh.
Oh, Sony looking at the scalpers and going, wait, we can do that?
Yeah, I think that's honestly part of what it was. Like they're consistently selling for above RRP, so we just up the RRP.
Oh no, I wouldn't be surprised if like, because actually I'm reading that that Reggie Fils-Aimé book they released a while back, and he's pretty much like saying how the 3DS like launched in the States atrociously, so they had to drop the price by like what $100 in its first year just to like sort of sell it.
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah,
and
and
if you bought it at launch and they gave you like 20 free GBA games.
They did. I was one of those people.
Yeah,
Same.
in the ambassador program, I was the same
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, and it's just very interesting how it's like hardware you should rarely, from Nintendo's point of view anyway, you shouldn't be making a loss on that. But it seems like Sony is in such a desperate position.
They sell at a
They have to-
profit. They sell. Consoles have been selling at a profit for the past like 12 years.
No, that's what I'm saying though. They must be in like a dire strait to sort of like up the ante, knowing that Xbox, their next competitor, will remain at the same price. Like it seems like either they're very desperate or very stupid.
Mm.
It's
They might
Sony.
also
Do you
be
really want to take
hoping that
risk?
it slows down the sales of the PS5, so that then they can actually have PS5s on shelves. That might be something that they're trying to do. I
But it's
don't
still
know.
dumb as well because like
It is still dumb.
If they're still off shelves and there's like implied demand, then you got people still want. Yeah, I don't know. Look,
Yeah, but it's a lot of bad press.
yeah,
Bro,
You,
All
you
I'm-
can't
all I'm
open
saying
anything
is-
for PS5 without people like a comment saying, "Oh, too bad I can't buy one because they're still sold out." Like,
even though there's so many
Well-
floating around.
All I'm saying is, if Harambe was still alive, there wouldn't be PS5s off shelves right now.
Yep, you're right, 100%.
mm-hmm.
He's got that gorilla
I agree.
grip hold on it.
Direct correlation, undisputable.
Definitely. Anyway, next up, and actually lastly on the news docket for this week, as we basically just talked about, but Xbox came out, looked at Sony and went, nerds, and then said, we will stabilize the prices and not fuck over the consumer base for, was it just this year?
I didn't think he gave the year.
I don't think he gave a time frame, to be
But-
honest.
But at the same time, it could be like, oh yeah, that was then. Now this is now. Give money.
Yeah, no, the quotes we got at the moment is we are constantly evaluating our
Oh.
business to offer our fans great gaming options. Our Xbox Series S suggested retail price remains at $299. The Xbox Series X is $499, and left it at that. There's no hard yes or no will increase or decrease the price. It's just this is what the price is right now.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I realized that
The direct quotes was that they have no plans, so that's good.
There is no direct quote that says there's no plans.
There is on the Windows Central
There is?
article.
Okay.
Yes. You open the Windows Central article. Microsoft
Well, anyway, like, it's-
quote, confirmed that there are no plans to raise the price.
Anyway, doesn't matter. It might be related to how good Game Pass is going. It might be because that Microsoft.
The no plans is just people writing no plans because of that quote I just said.
Mm,
There's no
Yes.
one quoted to say there's no
I
plans.
swear I've seen it quoted somewhere as well, but that's fine. But
Yeah.
doesn't matter. They're not raising it at the
They're not
moment.
raising it at the
There's no
moment,
confirmed
yeah.
plans, so
I wonder if that's because Microsoft literally has
Like,
the Windows
I-
brand behind it. That's so it can be like weather the storm, essentially.
well, Sony also has all of their electronics and stuff everywhere, and a lot of other things in like film and music and a lot of like other industries.
Oh, good point. Yeah, there's like so.
and they're getting into a more hardware market now again, with
Yeah.
the new monitors and headphones.
So a huge amount of
Which,
hardware for music
cannot wait
and
for that.
video.
Can't wait for their prices to go up.
Mm.
Sony, the Sony Xperia phones that don't sell in Australia anymore. Those are all right. I had the
Yeah, my first.
Z3, I
We
think.
both talked about our first smartphones
Yep,
being
and-
Xperia phones.
Yep. It wasn't my first smartphone. I had an iPhone before that, but
Oh shit. Okay, but yeah, we both had Xperias at some point.
it wasn't my first. But yes.
Right. That brings us to the end of news for this week, and we have an audience question. Bradley asks, hey gang, what game have you played this year that you've already forgotten about? And then clarifies, like a game that had the shortest lifespan, or like that was the shortest time in your attention span for this year. Interesting question.
Interesting question, because it relies on me remembering the game.
Exactly.
I have an answer.
Okay. Yeah, same, actually. I just remembered one.
So for me, it's Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Really?
It's actually wild that was this year, but I still remember.
I was also going to say Arceus.
Fondly. Well, I remember fondly playing parts of Arceus. I don't think
Yeah,
it was
no,
a question
fondly,
for me.
but it's the one that left the least impact on me. Other games I played this year, like the Ace Attorney games, I absolutely fell in love with. Doom, I absolutely loved. Even the Guardians of the Galaxy game, I really liked the story in that way more than anything that Arceus did for me. So it's just like, out of the games I played this year, that was the weakest overall.
You know what mine is?
Is it Tiny Tina?
Okay, well, that's hurtful. It's definitely not Tiny
actually,
Tina. I've played quite a bit of Tiny Tinas, and that, for all its DLC faults, still left lasting impressions in my mind. So fuck you, Saif. But
the only lasting impression Tiny Tina left for me was the DLC disappointment.
Fair, I think. Mario Strikers.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I agree. I played one match.
Played it for the weekend. That was it.
I told you, fellas. I told you not to get it. I knew this would happen.
I also just recently got Wii Sport, and that is very much in the same camp. My God, that relies so much on nostalgia.
Yeah, I want to get just to the volleyball, but
it is just not fun. It controls badly. It's not engaging. There's no like hype scenes or anything. Like, in saying that, I was playing it by myself. It might be fun with other people.
Honestly, don't know if you're talking about Mario Strikers or Wii Sports.
It's both. That's the problem. They're just so as games. There's nothing to them.
The way that you play, I'm gonna say it, fellas. We're getting old, and these games aren't for us.
It's not even that. Like, I played like one match of bowling. I was like, that was kind of fun, but the Wii one is literally better. Like, without a doubt.
Well, don't forget though, the Switch does have motion tracking, like through gyro, but is it as like accurate as the Wiimote?
So it's okay. Like, you can put spin on the ball and everything, but what I mean by it's not engaging. Like, you will literally throw the ball and then your character just kind of walks backwards. Like, in the Wii one, there was like emotions and everything that they'd like jump up and cheer, and you'd see all the Wii guys in the background being like, yeah, this is cool, you know, you're doing really well, whatever. This is just so deadpan. Like, you it's just so boring.
Okay.
There's nothing to the game. It's like they've put all their attention on the actual mini game itself, which is bare mechanics at best, but they've taken out everything that made it fun, like a party game. And I think, you know what, I'm going to say that's my most forgettable, and I only played it this week, and it's still, I'm not even going to play it.
He's seething about it.
I am seething about it. It was on special. If it was half price, and I don't even think it was worth that. So, yeah, it's
interesting. Nintendo game half price. Interesting.
Yeah, I know.
For me,
I guess.
Oh no, sorry.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say you go, Steve, and then if anyone has a quick answer for the opposite of the game that has been most impressionable this year.
Well, this is a heavy caveat that the only game that I played that came out this year was Elden Ring, and there's no way I'm saying it's Elden Ring because
that was amazing.
I'll be silenced. For me, it's
don't think of it as something that had to come out this year. Just
something that
I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just saying that's what I'm saying. But Ukulele in the Impossible Lair. That was it. I do not care for platformers. I did not care for that platformer. But I can recognize it was a good game. It's just like finished that game, I put it down, and I was like, you know what? Cool, I'm done.
Never gonna play that again.
I'll never play. Every now and then, the itch to either play Banjo Kazooie, Banjo Tooie, Ukulele will sort of scratch.
And you remember it's a genre you don't like.
3D platformers I like. 2D platformers I don't like. Please don't ask me to elaborate. I cannot.
That's fair.
I can understand it. 2D platformers are usually more about like platforming and mechanical challenges, while a lot of 3D platformers are about collectathons and just kind of chill.
Yeah, so you say it's a skill issue then?
Yes.
Literally is what he's saying, yeah.
Fuck.
Right, and does anyone have any quick answers for the opposite games that you played this year that Elden Ring, I think, would be an easy
100%,
pick for
Elden Ring and Forza, actually, would be my two.
I got two answers. Can I cheat and give two answers?
I was going to say Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's just because it's so different. It sort of sticks out. But then at the same time...
Sticks out because there's no voice acting. What do you mean?
Is the voice acting in the room with us now?
No,
yes,
it's the problem.
We're voicing our acting right now.
Well, no. You're saying that we've done more voice acting than all of Arceus combined.
More acting than all of Pokemon combined.
So in the most recent Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, they had a warning that this is just not in the game.
Fucking treated me so
literally
hard.
seething.
Oh my god.
Literally seething. But yeah, no, just for what Legends Arceus did to the Pokemon genre, maybe what it did to the Pokemon genre is not a thing because it's a borderline spin-off game. I just thought it was very interesting and very fresh. And the way that, like, I've heard everybody talk about it, it's like, oh, wow, this Pokemon game is actually good. And it's like, what do you mean? Like, that's very different. Like, oh, okay. And it is. And I'd like to sort of see them sort of build on that type of thing because, yeah, old Pokemon games do not hold up as well as they should, especially like the newer ones, like Sword and Shield.
Holy shit, that's such a bad take.
No, I mean, like, compared to what they could be, I mean.
In what way?
But, like, in terms of, like, pushing the graphics, pushing the combat system, just doing something different. There's no need to just sort of...
I'm sorry, Steve, were you upset that you got a Nintendo GameCube level graphically unappealing Pokemon Legends Arceus game that was basically silent? Because that's what it sounds like you're saying.
With no
there was
music
random
until
drum
it,
beats
like,
every time someone
changed
spoke.
Time of day.
No, every single time there was a new voice line, it did the dong.
Yeah, true.
And a zoom in on the face.
I did like the battle sound, though. Like, when you go into battle, the battle music.
You know what? I'll give Arceus 1 point in its favor. It actually turns the real Cynthia theme into a full track.
Anyway, what were you going to say, Pat?
I have I don't have a strong one. I think if it was going to be a strong one, then it probably would be Elden Ring, just because it's quite different to other games I've played. But just throwing other ones out there, Sunbreak, very memorable, but that might also be because I've put way too many hours into it this year.
I think you guys hated Monster Hunter.
Oh yeah, nah, definitely.
Oh no, that was Josh's other podcast.
God, I could never say a bad word about Monster Hunter. What a great game. Except for those invisible walls.
There you go. He said it. He said something bad about it.
It's not even in the gameplay though. It's just a non-factor. In fact, that is my picking point. Is like it says so much.
This one might be kind of biased because I literally finished it this week. But Cult of the Lamb. Ever since I saw it, it's been kind of it's left an impression on just its polish and graphical style. Outer Wilds, I think, is also a bit of a wild card. Not necessarily that it's been out this year, but just ever since I've finished playing it, it's just kind of like every so often I just won't be thinking about anything, and then I'll think about like, man, Outer Wilds was a good game.
Yeah. I need to go back and play it. I need to play the DLC.
Yeah, same. Any other thoughts from anyone else, or wrapping up here?
I have a few. Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. I'm pretty sure every single week I mention this game at least once. Always talking about how amazing it is, and everyone else is being wrong. It's the GOAT.
It's pretty forgettable, yeah.
The Ace Attorney trilogy. I absolutely fell in love with those games this year. I still need to play the rest of the series, but the first 3 games are fantastic and left a great impression on me. And every time I wasn't playing an Ace Attorney game and I was taking a small break because of work or something, I was getting an extreme itch to go back to them and just do another case because they were really gripping. And also going on with a recent release, I've been playing a little bit of Rollerdrome on the side. I'll talk about that more in depth at some point when I finish it. But the little bit I've played at the moment is really fantastic. It does a great blend of Jet Set Radio style gameplay and Max Payne and Tony Hawk Pro Skater a little bit. I've been really enjoying it, and that's also been leaving a great impression on me.
Right. Any other final thoughts, or wrapping up the question there?
Yep.
Cool.
Seems like we're wrapping up there.
Yeah, wrap it up. Give it to Seth for his birthday.
Hopefully.
That was last recording.
If we have
That's
to.
the joke. That's the joke.
I don't know, Steve. You didn't say it and then immediately start laughing. How are we supposed to know? Anyway.
I'm laughing. Don't you worry. I'm laughing.
On the
Hopefully
inside.
Hopefully that answers your question, Bradley. If you or someone you know has a question you'd like us to answer, get in touch. We're on Facebook at Fast Travel Lounge, Twitter at Fast Travel Lounge -1 of the L's, and Gmail, fasttravellounge@gmail.com. Please give us a like on your favorite podcast platform and a review or comment if you can. All interactions help boost our voices within the algorithm and bring us one step closer to being the preferred gaming and pop culture news podcast, sponsored by Krispy Kreme, Ford Truck Month, and Steptember. But
Aiming for the stars there.
Every day we stray further from God.
Because we're doing our steps.
Damn right.
Exactly. Every day
I've
we
all
step
been-
further from God, really.
I thought we were meant to be stepping into his warm embrace.
Speaking of steps.
That's no, Seth. That's Ford Truck Month. We step towards a great deal. But this is we are now at the end of episode 39. Thank you so much for joining. Anything people can look forward to in episode 40?
I will decide hours before we record.
I will live cry on the podcast about my VR still not working and how much money I spent on it.
I will probably be talking about God of War 2018.
Probably talk about Hot Wheels Unleashed. Oh, you
Fine,
know what I'm
beat
going to talk
that.
about, actually? Opus Magnum.
Oh,
Oh, but
I am looking forward to the
viewing
great.
of that 48-hour movie thing, Pat?
That is the Heat's coming up soon.
my heat is on Saturday, so
Yeah.
by the time this goes up, the heat will have been out, and my film will be freely available for anyone to watch.
Yeah, make sure you post it. I love seeing a film in heat.
Jesus Christ!
The movie Heat from 1995 was very good.
No, my one was pretty funny. What I
No,
said.
yeah, no, it was a good movie. I was just thinking about it. Now I'm going to watch it again.
Being in
Uh,
heat, being in
and-
it doesn't matter.
Speaking of people crying on the podcast next week, it'll be my last one for a month, so I'll have to
It'll be
figure
the
out
last
something.
podcast for a month, probably.
Maybe, but I'll have to figure out something special to do as lucky episode 40, because
Not doing it in a hot tub.
I actually kind of cracked that we hit 40, and then taking a month off after that. But
Come back for season
Anyway.
2.
yeah, until then, I've been Patrick. I've been joined by Seth, Steve, and Josh, and we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
Happy birthday, walking.
Walking even.